Just how long will the First Descendant last? Well, I asked the question, will the game last, in my latest video. So be sure to check that video out. I talk about a lot of things in there. I sort of walk through two categories. What do they need to do to make the game last, but what's going to happen or what would lead to the game not lasting at all? Because people are kind of split on this one. So I'd love to know your opinion. Be sure anytime you watch those uploads to leave a comment. Whenever we do those uploads, we then come over to a live stream environment. That way that you can just sort of engage with me, engage with the topic. And if you leave a comment on my uploads, you may get featured in the live stream. I usually do these for a couple of hours, and then I try to pull up those comments and just sort of give people credit, like, hey, here's a good comment, and I try to respond to them as well. There will also be a second show today discussing Game of the Year frontrunners. Have we already played the Game of the Year of 2024? I'll be doing that show with Kirk from What's New Video Games. Mondays are very, very full. Typically Monday through Thursday, we're giving you an upload. Thank you to everybody who dogpiles on those, as well as all of the members who show up for morning coffee. If you are a member, whether you've been the recipient of a gifted or paying, we start the day with morning coffee, and then we go watch the upload together, and then we come here and discuss it. So be sure to check out that latest upload about the First Descendant. We covered it pretty heavily before I went away for a week, and then I wanted to loop back to it. So if you check out that video, you will know what I think. And now it is time to hear what you think. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. I saw a lot of you guys on that video, a lot of people talking and sharing their thoughts as well as sort of their experience. There are people all across the spectrum right now. There are people who have played a bunch. There are people who have played very little. There are people who are like, hey, you know, I've got all the characters and I didn't spend a dime. And then there are people that are like, dude, I am not playing that game because of the microtransactions. So there doesn't seem to be a general consensus at all about the game. It seems to be sort of, you know, a divisive game maybe. Like, it's not like contentious. I don't think it's making anybody upset. Good morning, Feed. Good to see you in the chat. Guys, Feed has a gray name. You know what that means. We got to fix that. We got a great goal for you this week. It's the last Friday of the month, and you know what that means. You can make Creature, my producer, come play a game with me on Friday night. We will include the community as well this week, as well as my wife. She'll be here. It's always a good time. If you want to make him play Overcooked with me, Overcooked with Creature, it'll be hilarious. Somebody had a great idea. I want to give them credit. Somebody threw out that idea in morning coffee. So get those members going. One Up Ninja, thanks so much for renewing. Also remember, if you're on a Member Plus or higher, you can move this goal just by renewing and celebrating. You do need to be on a Member Plus or higher. That's the only way for us to distinguish whether or not it's a membership that's paid. If it's gifted, I can't tell, and then that would sort of be a double dip, and that would hurt us. We can't do that, but we do celebrate those gifteds, as well as the Member Pluses and as well as the VIP. So thank you guys so much for helping us hit that goal. So 600 members on the week, and you guys can pull that off. So thank you very much. Yeah, Rich Rod, was that your idea? It'll be funny. It'll be funny. So help us hit that goal. Hit the $sign at the bottom of the chat. Celebrate your membership renewal. That counts, you know. And don't forget, the way that we are able to do this Monday through Friday, the way that I'm able to do this full time is all of your great support. So smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Liking the video is free. Subscribing is free, and that does support what we do. As well as we got reforgeroast.com back up and running, and we're doing Frickmas in July. So get those coffee orders in. Thank you to everybody who has been doing that. And Storm is going to be the first member of the day. Han shot first, and so did you. He renews his VIP. Thank you so much for doing that, Storm. Kicking the day off. Appreciate you. Call Me TK81 says, I haven't spent a dime, probably close to 100 hours, really enjoying the game. Never thought I would like these types of looter shooters. Well, I think that's where a lot of people are. I don't want to say they're not giving the game a fair shake. Like, if you don't want to play the game, don't play the game. But I wonder if people are just seeing those micros, seeing the grind, you know, the potential money, and they're like, nope, I'm not playing. And then other people are like, dude, I haven't spent any money at all, you know? And Grimdark Truth left a comment on the upload and says, if the devs stay transparent and continue to be for the players, people will stick around and play. The biggest thing you do is fix difficulty scaling in multiplayer. Agreed on all points. I really touched on that at the end of the video. I said, listen, if they want this game to last, if they want people to come back, it's got to be more memorable. I don't know if there's like memorable content in there. Belfagor bumps the line by 1 as well, renews that membership. Plus, thank you so much. That's 2 members already on the day. Like, there's just not a whole lot of memorable content. I'm like, okay, I'm doing the same content over and over again. And I kind of talked about that. I was like, well, the mindlessness of the game works in his favor. I think so. But it also works against it because everything sort of bleeds together in my memory. I'm not like, oh, the content has like a really great and unique feel. Oh, the content has, I can't wait to go back and do this or that or the third. It's like, no, all the missions, all the boss fights, everything sort of blends and bleeds together. And I think that helps the game. I do. I think that helps the game. It's like, it's very playable, shut your mind off and grind. But then when I'm away from the game, I do not have the itch, right? And I call the itch, I talk about that in the video. The itch is when you're away from the game and you're thinking about it. When you're not playing the game and you're thinking about what you're going to do when you get back in. Mo says, we'll probably buy some more slots. You want them all. Right, I think once you get into the grind, it's very, very addicting in a good way. Not like you're out here spending money and pulling slot machine levers, but like it's addicting in a good way. You're like, oh, this is enjoyable. I feel like I'm getting a lot of stuff. But then beyond that, though, it's like I've gotten all the way through almost every single one of the normal bosses. I have almost all the areas unlocked, and I'm like, I don't feel like I've played anything that distinct from itself, which, again, I think there's good and bad about that. Not knocking you for talking about it, just saying things have been slow in gaming lately. Yeah, I felt like we had a great week last week, Anthony. You know, you were like, oh man, I want Sony to do something. You know, we talked Star Wars Outlaws, Space Marine 2, Light No Fire, No Man's Sky. I felt like last week was actually really enjoyable from the perspective of gaming news. And I felt like we had a really, really good mix. We also kicked the week off with Concord, our beta impressions, as well as Xbox Game Pass, changes. So I thought last week was very, very a good return from a break, and you guys made that awesome. So, good morning, King Salty. Hangman is a doozy. Have you unlocked hard mode? No. And that's where I'm a little torn on the game. When I play it, I'm having a great time. When I'm not playing it, I don't feel any draw to come back to it. And I think that's a problem. Like, you have to get that itch. Let me ask an honest question. How many of you guys force-crafted Valby and ran those exploits? Because that tells you whether people really like a game or not. I think their take on that was great. Soul Train just upgraded to Member Plus, and that counts on the member goal. Guys, every single person that does that, you can push me to 25 where I have to give 5. We are trying to get 600 members on the week, and you can add to that simply by upgrading or gifting members. Both support the channel. Thank you for doing that, Soul Train. To be fair, if we're using Warframe as a comparison, the first really memorable piece of content was the second Dream, and that was quite a few updates into the game. Right now, First Descendant has a good start. I think that's fair pushback, that they're building the base, that they're starting with, a content loop and a concept and a game that is, that people are enjoying. I think that's fair. Henry Heck left a comment on the video, and he says, tight video. I enjoy the game, and once I finish the campaign, I'll put it down until the next big update. Grinding missions for resources to make weapons or descendants, just to then grind those same missions over again is uninteresting to me. New things to do are, yep. Feel the same way. I feel the same way. It's like, listen, I talked about that in the video. It's like, if the means are also the end, does that make sense? If the means are also the end, it's like, well, is that all that compelling? The means of getting the players is grinding to get the players, and you get the players to then grind to get more players. It's like, that's, that's a little bit time is a flat circle. It's like, okay, what exactly are we doing here? I'm telling you, they gotta have an aspirational section that isn't just, well, it's the same bosses, but they're hards now. They're hard now. I'm sorry. a lot of players quit at the Dead Bride. I think a lot of players probably did quit at the Dead Bride, and I probably would have had a much easier time if I would have spent some time upgrading all of my stuff. I had been upgrading my guns just through like the transmission, but I hadn't been upgrading my little conduits or whatever they're called. I hadn't been doing that. And then when I did, I was like, oh wow, I feel a lot better. So, guys, take a quick second. We're 10 minutes into the live show. Nice, strong turnout. Thanks so much for being here. Take a quick second and smash that like button. Make sure you watch that upload every morning, and if you leave a comment, you might be featured. I just read Henry Heck. Smooth Jazz says, I think the grind for Ultimates is too long. I often log off with little to no progress after hours of playing. It feels bad and makes me want to quit and go back to Warframe. They are looking into grind efficiency. They are. They basically said, hey, you know, this Valby thing, people responded so positively to this. As I said in the video, it's like that communicates something to you. If this is what people want to do, then give it to them. Give them more. Let them grind. Let them do the thing. If that's what's going to make people come back and play, then you've got to do that. You can't purely be focused on, well, it's got to be drawn out and slow, and that way people spend money. Now, I remember I told people, I said, listen, the true test for the game is going to be in a couple months, right? Right now, they could make the game very generous and very good and leaning toward the player. And then you get hooked, and then you get established, and then if they, you know, start dropping stuff in the future, they can start to lower some of those things, right? That would be the concern. Bushin Ryu Cat with 2 months. Morning, Lono. Good news for fighting games. Evo just finished. SNK re-released. SNK Street Fighter X over, but I'm sad. Microsoft Game Pass issue. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I don't follow any of that, so appreciate the update, but I don't follow that. I don't follow the fighting game world. Warframe was just bad, especially when it came out. Oh, was just as bad, especially when it came out. Mo, is your contention that, like, okay, no, this game's actually in a good spot for its starting position? I mean, I could be persuaded that, like, oh, give them a chance, let them build up and get some endgame content going, and they seemingly are doing the things you want to see from a looter-shooter game. They're not slamming the door in the face of people who are enjoying, you know, running a grind. Like, if you're really, really running a grind and you're having a good time with it, you know, you got to be careful. You slam the door in somebody's face when they're enjoying your game or they're enjoying an aspect of your game, well, you might lose some of the most loyal people. You know, those can end up being some of your most loyal people. The ones that find those exploits, the one that find those loopholes. Now, I conceded this in the video. If you've got something that completely invalidates or breaks the game, then I'm okay with saying, I've not been using the timer, and I need to get the timer going again. There we go. I'm on record as saying, like, listen, if you've got something that completely invalidates the game, then yes, by all means, you've got to patch that out. But if it's literally like, oh, this is really generous and people really liked this, well, then you've kind of got to give them more. You can't take away something that people positively respond to. And there's a delicate balance here, because you can't just open up the floodgates and invalidate your entire natural grind process, but you also don't want people to say, oh, we found something cool, they took it away, let's get out of here. Now, Grant Gooch is responding. He says, people misinterpreted a dev post to say they were going to buff the other outposts to 200 to 300%. What the devs actually said was that, like the gameplay loop of the Valby farm, they are keeping it in, but the rates are due to a bug where enemies spawn infinitely and are too high to stay in the game. They're fixing the bug without removing the farming method and bringing other farming methods up to the new rates of the outpost farm. Thanks for the info. Yeah, but the point is, they're saying we want it to be as efficient, right? Like, they're letting you know, hey, we see your response to this. We want to make other grinds just as efficient. Evolution's the world's largest fighting game tournament, like when COD used to have it. Finals, it was like an anime con. Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't pay any attention to it. The devs said that they are not planning to nerf the farms. They plan to keep the Valby farm as well as make other spots more farmable. I don't think it's going to be as efficient as it is now. I agree with Grant Gooch, but I think what they're going to say is, okay, listen, we're going to look into making other farms as efficient, but that doesn't mean they're going to, like, let you blast your way through the game and get like 2 to 3 times. They're raising the floor. Right, they're raising the floor. Like, they had 2 choices. They could just slam the door in your face and be like, nope, can't do this. But they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to tweak, remove the bug, but then allow people to do this type of thing in other content. Duplicate irritation drops is the main issue of the game. Nothing sucks more than getting duplicate drops with nothing to do with them, which drops the majority of the time. I don't disagree with you. I do not disagree with you. I think when you get duplicate drops, you should get something. Maybe you can trade it in for, you know, maybe it increases pity. So that, you know, in the future, I don't like pity in microtransactions, but if there's pity in the game's drop rates and, you know, you get a duplicate, that should help you in the future. Like, hey, you know, that's your 4th thing that you don't want anymore. Okay, well, that actually ends up helping you long term. I got all my Descendants to 40, so I don't mind, says Mo. Man, Mo, you've been grinding, huh? Jeepers. Infinite says, I stopped when I ran the same mission 7 times for a material to drop and it still never dropped. Yeah, and I in my video about my concerns about the game before it came out, I touched on that. I said, you know, grinding the end game for materials, that can go a bad way. You know, that can go a bad way. That can make people feel like, dude, what is the point? I can't get the stuff to drop. And then they'll move on. Alexander Smith left a comment on the upload. He says, while I found it very fun at first, my interest has died down due to lack of interest in the characters themselves. They look amazing and fun, but they lack personality. Yep. I touch on this at the end of the video. I touch on that at the end of the video. You know, I touch on that. It's like, there's something that's not memorable here. You got to figure out how to make the game memorable. I think that's going to be a challenge. I do. I think if they can figure that out, whether they do that through aspirational content, whether they do that through creating basically what I've described as like a playground for people, you need a place where people feel like they can take all their hard work. You know, that I think is the issue. And if you don't feel like that's happening and you feel like, well, it's just time to grind for more Descendants or it's just time to do this, I think that's when folks will say, yeah, I'm kind of over this. You know, I'm not having a good time, or, you know, I'm not going to make it. Yob Asmongold discovers this channel. Well, I appreciate that. You know, him reacting to my content, I would welcome that. I don't think he ever will, though. I think they would say, no, don't do that. There's no point grinding for mats on normal mode because mats drop double the amount on hard mode. King Slayer says, I stopped grinding once I got Lepic to level 40. It's just too samey for me. I don't want to return even if the gameplay is great. It's just not something that I crave. Hard mode is that sandbox that you're asking for. So do you think, and here's the problem, Dark Taco, Destiny was memorable before I ever beat a raid, right? Helldivers was memorable, and I never went up into the highest level of difficulty in Helldivers. What is it about going into hard mode that you think is, oh, that's what you're asking for? That's the sandbox. That's the memorable gameplay. That's the place to take your characters. Like, aren't you just going up into hard mode to get better drops? As I said in the video, now you've made the means also the end. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, the means is also the end. You grind this to get materials so that you're stronger, so that you can grind this to get materials. You see what I'm saying? Like, I want aspirational content that has, you know, unique loot drops, unique cosmetic drops. Not just, oh, it's hard now, so you get more stuff. You can target loot in hard mode. Okay, so that's mechanically good. That's mechanically good. Allowing people to target farm, allowing people to target loot, that's perfectly good and fine. I'm talking about them saying, this is different. this is a different piece of content, or there are different types of drops here, so that when the boss dies, when you conquer it at the very, very end, you get a sense of, again, make it memorable is the point that I'm making. There needs to be something that isn't just, oh, it's harder now. If it's the same basic content that the entire front half of the game is, I think that's the issue that I'm talking about. Making something memorable is, okay, I've never played content like this before in the game. There's tons of exclusive unique bosses only in hard. No, that's not what I'm talking about. No. A new boss is not what I'm talking about. Like, here's an example. When you go in and you play new, you might remember this, when you would play like new strikes in Destiny, you would typically get to the end, and what was the boss? It was a bigger version of something that you'd already been fighting, and the new strikes were cool, but ultimately it was like, yes, it's just another strike, it's just more bosses. What made Destiny memorable was those crescendo moments, those big heroic moments, the bombast, the things that you could do. And I think these heroes need a little bit more punch, and I think you need to create environments that don't feel like, oh, it's just hard now. It needs to have mechanics. It needs to have, like, one of the reasons that dungeons and raids, I think, were so winsome as content in Destiny versus like a Grandmaster Nightfall was because it wasn't just like, oh, this is hard now. The dungeon runs on hard are a little different from the normal runs. You get a chance at double patterns. Yeah, I'm looking at the content structure and I'm saying it's good. I think that's one of the reasons that it's good is because you get into that sort of rhythm and you're like, okay, I can grind. Everything kind of bleeds together. The only way you get out of that is by saying, okay, that can't be our only thing that we offer. They do that with bosses and dungeons. Right, but right now, there's nothing in the game that I haven't essentially already experienced. More bosses isn't necessarily the solution. You need unique content that has aspiration to it, whether or not it's a completely unique drop or completely unique cosmetics. I think that's the ticket, because, like, I look at all those harder bosses, I look at the map, I look at the ability to regrind stuff on hard, I look at the ability to go regrind on hard and get better drop rates of materials, and I'm like, okay, that's essentially what I'm doing now, you're just kind of turning up the heat. I think that's totally fine. What I'm saying is there needs to be something else, something beyond that, something external that allows them to be more creative. And again, I even kind of think like the heroes need a little bit more bombast. I think they need like an ultimate, like a super. Soldier on Music says, the more I play games like this, the more I realize that I want incredible storytelling along with gameplay and a satisfying loop. Otherwise, spinning wheels. The story makes me feel like a hero. Right, and we kind of got on this. Paul, I don't know if Paul's here today. He really, really disagreed with me, and so many others did, that without compelling story, you know, like a game basically needs a compelling story was essentially what they were arguing. And I think a live service game can do just fine without story. I certainly think story can help, right? It's almost like this game and Concord are the opposite of each other. Concord is heavily focused on story with memorable characters and interactions that have a lot of personality and charm. And then the First Descendant, everybody's talking like they're sleepy. You know, like, oh, you got to get back down there and do the thing. Okay, but before you do, go talk to this other person. You're like, okay. And you go talk to this other person. They're like, yeah, we're really sorry. You got to go back down there and do this thing. You're like, okay, I'll go back down there and do this thing. Raven, 32 months. Raven with 32 months takes us to 4 members on the day. Thank you so much. Any renewal of a member plus or VIP counts. We've not had any gifteds yet today, but the renewals are already getting us started. Thank you so much, Raven. I'd be all for them making an incredibly tough dungeon that can drop fully built weapons and mods that make your character and weapons feel vastly different. That's what I'm talking about, James Wolfgang. That's what I'm talking about. Like, going beyond just, oh yeah, it gets harder. Your drop rates are higher. That's great. I think that's part of the good. I think that's part of good game design, right? I do. I think that's part of the good game design. But I think that's just sort of your base game, right? That's your base game design. That's your base game structure. You need something beyond that, up in the upper stratospheres. I wouldn't classify Concord characters as memorable. I mean, it's obviously subjective to the person, but I feel like the characters in Concord have more personality, are more memorable, they have their own look and feel than the characters in First Descendant. In First Descendant, everybody feels really, really similar to each other. Everyone's sort of very bland and soft-spoken. You know, even when they try to get, like, angry or mean, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, nobody has, like, I don't know. Comparing the two, I was only trying to highlight the fact that, like, one's a PvP game that is seemingly putting a lot of work into their characters and cinematics, and then the First Descendant's a PvE game. And I feel like the cinematics are fine, but I just don't think the characters are very interesting. I feel like they're all pretty bland. That's not me knocking the game. I just don't find the characters or the story. Part of it is I don't care because I don't think that is why I play a game like this. I'm just trying to shoot the things and watch the loot fall on the ground. Like, that's basically what I'm looking for. New unique bosses not being an interest to you, but they're akin to raid bosses and they drop unique mods exclusive to hard. That's a good start. I would agree with you. I think that's a good start, Dark Taco. I do. I think that's a good starting place. I think you need to consider you know, how do you go beyond that? What are they going to do? Are they going to be dealing with power creep? Like, how are you going to challenge us in the future? Are you going to be using modifiers? Like, are you going to have the game just sort of infinitely go up? You know, there's a variety of ways to answer that question. I like Concord cinematic cutscenes they showed so far. They're kind of funny, but I still don't want to play their game. Definitely not spending $40 for it. I think you're in good company. I don't think a lot of people are going to do that. Exactly. You play arena shooters and loot 'em shooters, but the gameplay loop, I want a shooter with a story. I'll boot up Deus Ex or something. King Salty says this is long. Getting your Descendants and weapons to level 40 is one thing. However, once you hit level 40, either you have to use a crystalline catalyst to focus one of the mod slots so the mod costs are cut in half. This resets your level back to 1. You have to do this a total of 12 times for each Descendant, plus the last 40 levels for max cap. You have to do this 10 times for weapons, plus the 40 for absolute max weapon level. For perspective, that is a total of 520 levels per Descendant for absolute max, and 440 for the absolute max on that specific weapon. That's why the Valby farm is so popular, because it completely shreds the time requirements to do this. I love the game's gameplay and combat, but leveling isn't content. Yeah, that's why I said the means become the ends, right? What you're doing to get there becomes what you're doing once you get there. It's like, yeah, nothing seems to have changed that much. I did all this grinding so I could get stronger so that I could do more grinding. You know, I think that's where aspirational content can come in and say, well, this is something you have access to now, and if you spent the time to min-max, you know, you're in good company. You're going to be able to, you know, do well in the content and get good drops or whatever. Feed says, don't forget to hit the like, everybody. Guys, Feed's in chat with a gray name. We cannot abide this. We got to rectify that. We got to get some gifteds going from my man Feed. Doppel left a comment on the video. Says, I predict the active players will reduce this Thursday. Earth Defense Force 6 launch and a massive reduce when Path of Exile 3.2 season starts. I don't see much overlap with PoE, but we will see. I don't see PoE being a threat to this game. I mean, PoE certainly has a draw, and there's a lot of people that like it, and I'm looking forward to PoE too. I'm hoping that can be a fun couch co-op game for my wife and I. I don't know if PoE has a ton of overlap with the First Descendant. Like, are there a bunch of PoE people playing First Descendant right now, and then they're going to walk away when the PoE stuff comes out? I'm not actually sure. Basito says, the grind is the game. I skipped all the cutscenes because I know the game is grinding and building different characters and weapons. What's memorable for me is the grind with buds and then I finally get that drop. This is the base of the game. Give the devs time and they will cook lore, characters in the universe like Warframe did. Well, I mean, that certainly is a question, isn't it? That certainly is the question. Are the devs gonna continue with this game? You know, that's a fear. Is that if they don't make the money they want to make, if they don't get the results they want, there's a real danger that they could just walk away from the game. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying that's well within the realm of possibility. So, Gearbox got bought and then sold by someone and repurchased again, I thought. I wouldn't be surprised if Borderlands went live service, but it has the ideal model in place for that one, I think. Yeah, I think Borderlands could do a really, really good ongoing format. They could either do the seasonal content, or they could just create like a universe, you know. And your new content, you could do seasons like Destiny does, but their new content would be new vaults. I thought that's what they were going to do. I really did. When Borderlands 2 ended, that's what I thought they were going to do. I was like, oh, the next Borderlands could be live service and ongoing, and the way that you continue to make it ongoing is every season that crops up, you're like, yeah, we found a new vault. And so you go to a new planet, and the new planet has new enemies and new, new mechanics, new weaknesses that the enemies have, but so you got to get the new weapons from the planet so they don't invalidate all the stuff you've been chasing. And then the vault would have its own content structure to get into it, and then it would culminate in a big, huge fight, and then you get a bunch of awesome loot. Like, what are we doing here? Like, at some level, Gearbox really ticks me off, because it's like, you guys have the absolute winning ticket for a live service looter within the game's lore. Like, yep, found a new vault. You just go back to the ship, and they're like scanning. They're like, yep, found a new vault. There's your new season. Throw in a battle pass, throw in cool cosmetics. What are we doing here? Like, I don't get it. That seems like such a slam dunk for the Borderlands franchise. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they ever take my advice. I had videos about twin sirens and the male, the male siren being, sort of unstable. And that just got put right into the game. I had a video about a Beastmaster class. That got put right into the game. I wish I still had those videos. They were on my other channel. Like, there was stuff I put out there about what they could do with Borderlands 3, like 1-to-1 ended up in that game. That was, like, weird. Especially the twin sirens and a male siren, and the male siren being, like, unstable because he wouldn't necessarily be able to wield the power as well. I wish I had that video. Might have even said his powers would show up as red. Didn't they do that, like, directly? Didn't his power show up as red? Anyway. That's way too much time for regular Descendant that won't be used much. Oh, like the grind? Yeah, like if the grind is the content, if leveling is the content, there's obviously going to be a concern there that you're just going to burn people out. They're just going to say, yeah, I'm good. I've gotten burned out. I don't want to play. Especially if they feel like the grind is designed for, to get them to spend money. If they feel like that's why it's designed the way that it's designed. I've been trying for 2 days to get the Divine Punishment nanotube. 20% drop rate in my butt, says Hotshot. If I had to guess right now, Hotshot, it wouldn't surprise me at all if drop rates are bugged on a lot of items. Because some people are like, oh, I've had a great time. I got everything I wanted. I've grinded for this or I've grinded for that. And other people are like, I can't get the dadgum thing to drop. So, I think that some of the drop rates might be bugged. I do. Not like intentionally. I just think they have a lot of items. They have a lot of moving parts. Pity system is needed. I actually agree with that. I don't like pity systems in a microtransaction environment because then the more money you spend, you're basically spending to increase your chances, and I think that that's sinister. But a pity system in a drop rate pool, I think, is good. The more you play, the more you don't get the thing you're looking for, the more your odds increase. What you're doing there is you're motivating engagement, and I think that that's perfectly fine. I think that's different than like, oh, if you keep spending money, your chances get better. It's like, no. The consolation prize of oh yeah, you've got a duplicate item, you've gotten this item before, but that now increases your chances on something next. What do you want to assign the pity to? And you would assign the pity to an item, and then that item's drop rate would go up every time you did that. What that does is that creates an inherent value to anything that drops, right? You're not just breaking it down for generic materials. It's like, no, it has inherent value. If it drops and you don't need it and you've already received it, it now helps you get the thing that you want to get. You can spend it on a basically like a pity token, and then you use that to increase the drop rate of something. I think that's a great system, because what that does is that validates, you know, your time. It's like, oh, you grinded a bunch today. All you managed to get was some duplicates. Well, those duplicates turned into pity. The pity got you targeted something with the pity, and now the next time you come play, your chances are even better for the item that you're going for. I think that's a great way to hook players with an incentivization that's more, you know, holistic and healthy than just, oh, yeah, sorry, you had bad luck, your friend had good luck. Keep playing, though. Like, I think that's why we're hearing very, very different, you know, responses to drop rate. Some people are telling very different stories than others about what they're getting and what they're not getting. Sounds kind of like the claw game. Keep putting in money, the chances might be better. A little bit. You know. Yeah, a little bit. I'll take that pity token. That's what I'm saying. A trading system? I think trading systems are very risky. I do. I know that when like Diablo was coming out, there were some pretty big advocates for trading. Asmongold was one of them. Trainwreck was another. And I don't necessarily disagree with them, but I think a lot of developers are going to look at a trading system and say, it's fraught with so many potential problems and so much risk. We don't want to have to babysit that. We don't want to have to deal with that. It creates its own world of unique problems of like, well, now people are going to do this and this and this, and they're just going to flood the market with, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, trying to trade with others. It can lead to item duping if you don't have things properly coded, so then you end up having people like just come into games and dump all the best loot on the floor. You know, that's not good for your game either. Especially for the ultimate weapon subcomponents, because you need to craft multiple copies of those guns to infuse them into the base weapon to increase the level of the unique ability. Yeah, I do. I think they need some type of pity system to help some of that stuff. You know. I just want to point out that Unreal Tournament 1999 and Quake 3 Arena are free on a... I don't know what that site is. I don't necessarily want to promote something that I'm unfamiliar with. I loved Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament, so you got my attention with the game titles, but I'm not sure what that is. I don't like promoting stuff if I'm unfamiliar with it. Starfish left a comment on my video and says, I give the game a rest to farm 2 parts of a module for like 6 hours. Never got it. Makes no sense right now. Drop rates needs some pity for sure. I think you need some pity for so stuff like that doesn't happen. This guy says, don't know, but I finished Molten Forward and the fun dried up. Endgame is misery for me. You don't get loot in the endgame. You end up with an inventory full of utterly useless posts. Don't care about the grind as now. The game is still installed, but I doubt it will be 2 weeks from now. I touch on that in the vid. I mean, I touch on that in the vid. It's like you got to have more than just grinding resources in the end game. You know, I feel like that person's response is completely reasonable. You know, it's like, well, I got all the way here, and this is what I'm doing now. Like, I think it's a completely reasonable response. You know, I used all my precious amorphous just to get the same Descendant part I already have. Oof, that hurts. Zuth says, I've been enjoying the game. I just need something to do with the unusable items that I have. Omar says, in like Warframe, there's trading and something it can be for something that's extremely rare or vaulted and engagement stays high there. It's a very controlled system. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I necessarily disagree with people that want trading. I just envision developers saying, we don't want to deal with that, bro. You know, developers can very easily look at that situation and say, yeah, we're good. We don't want to touch that. We don't want anything to do with that. That's a nightmare. That's a lot of micromanaging that we're going to have to do. That's a lot of things that we can just never ever have to worry about if we don't allow trading. You know, from the developer's perspective, they have to ask the question, is the amount of effort that we would put into babysitting trading and micromanaging trading to make sure nothing gets broken or duped or invalidated, they have to ask the question, would trading increase engagement that much? Like, is it worth the effort? You know, the shirt looking fantastic. Oh, thank you. This is another one from Into the AM. We're always wearing their stuff here. You can use code LONO and get a discount over there, or just go to intotheam.com/Lono. You can always use the shirt command or the link below in the description as well. Wasn't there controversy with Counter-Strike where someone was selling digital game goods illegally within the game marketplace? You weren't. Excuse me. People were mad, but I was confused. Yeah, I don't follow CS, so I'm not sure what happened there, Bushin. What's that? Is that even the item that increases the percentage of item to drop is extremely rare to get. That should give you even more pity. You know, if you use a currency hoping to get the thing that you're looking for and you don't, whatever you get, you should be able to turn into even more pity. like anytime you should be able to do that. I think that's a great way to honor the player's engagement time. Is it's like, look, no matter what you get, this helps. Hellfire with 22 months, and it's a VIP. Gamers these days have no patience. When Jesus spawned, respawn wait times were 3 days. Gee, many Christmas. He bumps the line to 5. We haven't had any gifted members today, but that's okay. 5 people have renewed either a Member Plus or a VIP, and sets up a nice 5 out of 25. Thank you, Hellfire. We'll see if anybody takes the big 20-bomb bait to start the day with gifteds. And you guys have a big goal this week. Last week, you smashed the goal. 500. You went over 500. This week, it's 600. It's the last week of the month, and you can make Creature and I play Overcooked on Friday night. Madam will be with us. It will be hilarious. Please help us hit that goal. That would be a gift to me. It would be so fun to do that this Friday night. So you're going to need to really dig deep and have some big days, but we've switched it up so that Member Plus renewals and VIP renewals count. So it's a little easier to hit the goal than it used to be. They're called shape stabilizers. I believe they have the lowest drop percentage of any item in the game. Oh, I thought you were wearing an Ashbury shirt. I was about to give you props for even knowing about the band. I don't know that band. Sorry. Nocturnal Deity says the modding system is great. I just think they need to add more diverse mission types and boss mechanics. They can also allow dismantling unwanted parts into shape stabilizers to keep people coming back. Well, they also need something to where if you run over or collect blues, they just auto dismantle. You need to be able to auto dismantle at certain levels. Like, that's always going to be an issue, I think, whenever you're playing games like this, is like you end up dumping so much loot on people that organizing it and coming over it is just a disaster. So, as long as you skip trying to do a Scottish accent, I will not do that. Shape stabilizers don't do enough for how rare they are. Yeah, if they're that rare, they should really give you a good shot at what you're trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I think they should. You like this shirt? I think the name of this shirt is it has Forge in the name. That's why I picked it out. You know, that's why I picked it out. I used all mine to try to get an energy activator and crystallize blueprints. Yeah, if you've been saving them up and then you use them and then you don't get what you want, I think that kind of adds insult to injury, you know? There's a junk filter you can set up for yourself with your preferences. Wait, so you can do that right now in the game, Diaz? You can set it up to just automatically filter. I'm talking about when I run over the gear, I want to see blues auto-dismantled. I'm not talking about like, oh, it'll auto filter and then I got to go dismantle them. I'm talking like there's a pile of loot on the ground and all these blues that I'm running over, they should just auto dismantle. I don't need them. Yeah, I just need purples and ultimates. That's all you need at that point. I think instead of being able to pick up and grind for all the parts, they should only give you the parts your descendant needs. That way, no matter the descendant, you're getting what you need. Well, I mean, they got to be careful. You can't just give it a 1-to-1 drop rate on anything that you want. Grant Gooch says there is no auto dismantle. It's limited. It filters by level. Yeah, that's just auto filtering. Rockin' Robin with the first 5 gifted of the day. A 5 bomb to take us to 10. Thank you so much, Rockin' Robin. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Han shot first, and so did you. You are the first to gift members today. We also had the first person to renew. Thank you so much, Rockin' Robin, for doing that. No instant, 2-second hold twice. Yeah, that gets tedious the more and more that drops. Just for perspective, I'm doing hard mode Echo Swamp Outposts with Sharon at the moment, and Shape Stabilizers have a base 1.5% drop chance to get an extra between 0.5 and 3.5%. Yeah, come on. You filter, hold R3, and it destroys all filtered. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I think you get to a certain point in a game like this where you just want to run over, and then they just automatically dismantle as you run over them. There's no reason to make me consistently go in and destroy blues. Now, there may be some kind of psychology to it. I don't know if there is, but there could be something to constantly opening your inventory and seeing a bunch of loot in there. But I definitely don't feel that after a while, and I don't think anybody else does. It's like, gee, many Christmas. Like, I mean, even purples, you're swimming in purples a lot of the times. Like, I mean, I'm just constantly having to go in. And I like that. I like a game that's generously dropping lots of loot fairly consistently. You know, I like that. But for me personally, I don't think that that's a deal breaker, but it's like, that'd be pretty nice, you know. When you played as your CPU temp go nuts. I have not played this game on my PC. I have played it on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Yeah. And they did a couple updates early on, and it runs great on both systems. My daughter plays on the Series X, and then my son and I play on the PlayStations. Hope you and your family are doing good, Lono. Haven't been able to catch a stream in a long time. Yo, good to see you, Gundam. Thank you so much for being here. Blue mods are important, though, not weapons. Well, you could customize it. You know, hard mode does add strike scoring that does increase the drop rate if the most wanted items, if your score is high enough. I've always liked that principle of, like, if you play better, if you play more aware, if you're, you know, more intentional, or you really try to push the score high, that you get better drops. I always think that that's good. You get way so much loot that you don't need, says Hotshot. They drop blue materials, so it might auto-delete those as well. Well, you would go in and check a box. You would say, you know, I want to auto-delete all blue weapons, but nothing else. I mean, that would be a start. I don't need to auto-delete really anything else, but I mean, maybe people want to. Who knows? No. It's not that big of a deal. That's just one aspect of the game that I think they could consider giving you that option. You have an Xbox controller in your house that actually works? I have a green one that I bought from Target a while ago, and, you know, no stick drift yet. I have 3 black controllers that I also bought from Target, and they all got stick drift very quickly. And I don't get it because the joysticks come from the same manufacturer. It's not something that Xbox is doing. I have a Joy-Con that has stick drift. I have one black DualSense that has stick drift. And then for whatever reason, the Xbox controllers get them faster. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the housings inside that are different that leads to it or what. Loot rains like crazy because the inventory is limited and they want you to buy more capacity. Well, yeah, maybe that's it. You don't really need to play better or faster for score. You just need to kill mobs to increase the score. I mean, even if it's something like that, I like that. I like there being a 1-to-1 impact on the rewards if you know, engage with the content, because I remember that was always a thing in Destiny. You would just run past everything. Who cares? You know, don't fight these guys. Don't fight these guys. You would only stop and fight like if you had to. Yeah, I agree, OG Omar. It's time for Hall Effect. You know, I want, if I could get a DualSense controller with Hall effect or an Xbox controller with Hall effect, I'd spend good money, but I want it to come from them. I don't want to buy somebody else's stuff. I mean, if a controller company wanted to send me Hall effect controllers, I'd be happy to, but there was only one who reached out, and it was like a PlayStation 4 controller. And I was like, no, I'd prefer an Xbox controller or a DualSense. Had to re-roll it several times to get it there. Oh, you finally got something that you were trying to get. Purple weapons can be great. The Tamer and Eternal Willpower are two of the best guns in the game. Really? Soldier on Music hits 26 months and says, thanks, Rockin' Robin. Thank you so much. That right there in chat, guys, that's why we can't do renewals of standard memberships to go here, because Rockin' Robin already gifted the member to Soldier. He can now celebrate. So if you want to help with this count and you are paying for your own membership, you do need to be on Member Plus or a VIP, and that's right there the reason why. If people were able to double dip, it would really hurt. It would hurt me. This is a fun incentive that's supposed to be a way for me to say, hey, thank you. Oh, did Feed get it gifted? Did he really? That's fast. That's really fast. That's good. That's good. Once you get Tamer, you don't need any other general weapons. Well, and I hope they look at that then. If that's actually true, I hope they look at that and they start raising some of the others. Didn't watch the video. This guy says, turns out it was just about No Man's Sky update. Video's now useless. Didn't watch the video. I cover that, and it still can be attached to Light No Fire. I'm really, really quick to point out when somebody hasn't watched a video. It's like, I can tell you haven't watched a video. I knew that the stuff from Sean Murray might be about No Man's Sky, and I talk about that in the video. I talk about how this still could be attached to Light No Fire. They could be doing something inside of No Man's Sky to lead to that, so... It is officially... Oh, if they sold the Deadpool... I'm sorry. If they sold the Deadpool Xbox controller in stores, would you buy it? Yes, I would. I would buy the Deadpool one and the Wolverine one. 100%. If anything, even if they got, stick drift eventually, I don't care. I'd put them in the room with me. Yeah. I think they look great. Guys, take a quick second. We've not even been streamed for an hour yet. Nice, strong turnout. Listen, I know some of you guys are not interested in this game, but you're still here listening, lurking, and talking. Thank you for that support. I know certain games you guys are just like, no, this game's not for me, but just still tune in and support what we do. Take a quick second and smash that like button. Let's set our sights on 200 likes. Easily could hit that right now. There's a lot of you here. And thank you to everybody who's already renewed or gifted members as well. The sheer joy on your face at admitting that. Admitting what? While I like the Tamer, I'm a Thunder Cage stan through and through. However, Eternal Willpower gives me G36 vibes, and it hits like a truck. Kaiser Sose. Good to see you, Kaiser. Eternal Willpower is the GOAT. The Fly Digi Apex 4 is a great controller. Good price also. Yeah, at this point, I'm either waiting for an official one to come from... Microsoft or Xbox. I'm sorry, Xbox or PlayStation. And if a company like that, again, if you want to send me a controller, I'll try it out. I'm not risking. There's no way for me to know if I like a controller until I put my hands on it. Even if it has good reviews, I might not like the feel of it. So, could the world's update for No Man's Sky be a test? Yeah, I think it's connected to Light No Fire. I think they're adding technology from Light No Fire into. Buying the controller? Oh, yeah. I totally would. I wouldn't even hesitate, dude. The Deadpool controller and the Wolverine controller, they're awesome. I get so tired of them doing really sweet controllers like that, and it's like limited run contests. I'm like, no, let me buy it. Guarantee you'd like Scuff's PS5. Are the Scuffs Hall effect? I don't want anything right now. I'm not risking on another brand, and if I do, it's going to be a Hall effect controller. I feel like they should add enhance location in the mission location so that you can dismantle mods or enhance them. I got a Transcendent to drop, but I couldn't pick it up because it was at max. Because I was at max cap. Oh. Walk away from this game and play Destiny. It's better in every way. Well, they're very different games, so I don't think that you necessarily have to only play one. I think you could grind this game, take a break. You could grind some Destiny, take a break. Destiny is certainly in a place where you can take breaks from it for sure now. Good morning. Thanks for the stream. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much, zombies. Appreciate it. For Destiny fans, the Tamer is the Thunderlord's strat. It's not the best min-max option, but it just works for what you need it to do. Not Hall Effect, but never had stick drift on them. Been using them for almost 10 years. Really? Sounds like you're like really, really lucky. That they've got to be. They're getting the joysticks from the same place. Mick Eldon says, I walked away from Destiny to play this game. Yeah, right? Like, you can bounce between games like this. You don't need to, like, pledge, your allegiance to a game. I think you could play both. Or neither. I mean, there are people who just don't like these kind of games. I think, either choice is totally fair. This guy says, depends on who you are. Iffy Bass Thunder left a comment. As far as I'm concerned, it'll take more than digital butts to keep me playing. There's so little of that in this game, though. As this is my first looter shooter and my last, it also takes more than repetitive RNG slot machine BS that panders for money to keep me playing as well. Deleted. I mean, that's fair. The game isn't for everyone. That's fair. If you feel like, listen, man, bad RNG and trying to get me to spend money, deuces. I think that's fair. If this is just a game that doesn't give you if it doesn't give you the things that you want, I think that's totally fair. You made me decide to start a gaming YouTube channel. Any advice for a newbie? Yeah. Don't passively self-promote your brand new channel and somebody else's content, because I'm going to be nice about it, but other people will be really mean. Yeah. The topic of today is the First Descendant, and I'm engaged with an audience, and we're doing our thing, and suddenly not doing that to give advice on content creation is a little, out of step. You've got to, there are plenty of guides and videos out there on what to do, how to do it. If you're trying to think through how to title, tag, and do descriptions and thumbnails, there are really great tutorials out there. So I'd recommend doing that, and then just do it. So you got an answer that was probably the most cordial answer you're going to get from people. Most content creators would be very, very unkind in response. What do you want? Do you want to be given the item and to not have to grind? I think sometimes people need to realize that the grind has to be there. This is something that I was saying earlier. I think that's why it's really important. If you get a duplicate or an item that you don't want, you should be able to use that to increase pity. So after running something enough times, you should be able to amass enough pity to get the item that you're working on. What that does is that it adds an inherent sort of latent value to everything that you're doing. Right? Like, instead of feeling like, didn't get it, that was worthless. Didn't get it, that was worthless. That's too dichotomous. That's binary. Like, it's a 0 and a 1, right? It's either a 0 or a 1. You either get it or you don't. So if that's the case, what's going to end up happening is a lot of the times people are going to receive, like, picture it this way. Let's say there's 9 zeros before you get your 1. There's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You don't want somebody thinking that that's what this game offers. It's just a bunch of nope, 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 nope. Keep trying, nope, and finally yes. If you get a bunch of no's, you're like, okay, I got a bunch of no's. I didn't get the drop that I'm looking for. But even that drop, in some measure, serves your goals of whatever you're trying to get. What it does is it adds purpose. So you don't walk away from a 2-hour play session and say, well, that was a complete waste of my time. It's like, well, no, I was able to increase my pity by X amount of percentage. So when I come back the next day, or when I come back in a couple of days, I have helped myself by playing. So when I played on a Tuesday, it helped my play session on Thursday, right? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, instead of, oh, I played on Tuesday, didn't get anything that I'm looking for, so that was a waste of time. You're almost creating an infection point of like, hey, you want to come back and play. Why? Well, because you helped yourself. You increased the odds of getting the thing that you're looking for. Like, there's an art to this, right? There's psychology behind it. There's an element of like, you give them that little jab of like, oh, well, now I'm invested. Now I've got pity. I better come back and keep trying. You know what I mean? This guy says, I can't imagine being a lowlife trying to promote Destiny 2 in its current state. What are you supposed to do? Do 1 act, 2 mission, and then quit? It's pathetic. I mean, I wouldn't call somebody a lowlife for promoting Destiny. If they're having a good time in Destiny and they think it's fun to play, I mean, I don't think that's not low life. That's just something that they're saying, hey, I've had people always do that with Warframe. Over the years, anytime I covered any looter shooter, if I played Borderlands, if I played The Division, if I played Destiny, I always had people in promoting Warframe, and I don't feel like that's like being a low life. I just think that's somebody saying, hey, I really like this. I think it's better. You should play this. You know what I mean? If the first girl says no, I move on to the next, and if she doesn't say yes, I keep going on to the next. That's how some gamers behave. Well, I mean, that's not a great analogy. Like, well, yeah, obviously, you know, if you're just trying to get a date for Friday night, I suppose you could cast a wide net. You're gonna have better luck getting to know somebody first. So, like, if you do shoot your shot, it's at least a good shot. You know what I'm saying? Not just any random person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might increase your odds. You know, you're not going to get pity in that realm. You know, well, this poor guy's asked out like 9 people. You're messing around. Yeah, maybe that's why you're not getting any dates. You know, they all talk. Trust me, they'll rat you out if you're just asking everybody in the, you know, in the art department at your job. They'll rat you out in a heartbeat. They're like, yeah, he's just asking everybody. I'm enjoying playing Destiny and First Descendant. Yeah, I think you can enjoy both. I do. I think sometimes people feel like you have to villainize the game that you stopped playing. I don't think you have to do that. You know? You don't have to do that. You don't need to go check on your ex on Facebook either and like privately throw confetti in the air because they gained weight. Like, you don't need to villainize the game that you're no longer playing. Just go play something else. That's fine. Yeah, why are you talking to girls when you could be grinding First Descendant? That's right. Why are you talking to girls when you could be watching Reforge Gaming? Like, these are the things you should be asking yourself. You know, really, what are you doing with your life? Oh my gosh. Guys, take a quick second. We should have hit 200 likes a little bit ago. You guys that are lurking and listening, you guys that are here every day, don't forget that ritual, man. That ritual is super helpful. Smashing that like button. Make sure it's saving your like too. YouTube was acting real weird this morning. We couldn't even schedule a video. It was buck wild. So thank you to everybody who was here this morning for morning coffee as well. Morning coffee got off to a later start because of that. If you're a member, every day we start 9 a.m. Eastern, morning coffee with members. I feel like the First Descendant would have done better if it came out 4 or 5 years ago. Multiplayer games are getting a lot of hate right now, even if they're average. You know what's funny is we've been saying that about a lot of games recently. Well, this game would have done better if it came out a couple years ago. This game would have done better if it came out a couple years ago. Yeah. And do you want to know why? Because a couple of years ago influences the games that you're playing now. Right? A couple of years ago, certain things, certain trends, certain ideas were all the rage. And here we are. We've got all these games that are trying to say, hey, Don't you want to run around and do the same thing over and over again for loot to drop? And people are like, well, maybe. You know, I think everybody approaches a game like this and says that. They're like, well, don't you want to play this game? Don't you want to grind? And everyone's like, well, you know, maybe. What do you got? What am I going to be doing? That's why in my video this morning, The First Descendant, will it last? I was like, listen, you got to let me know where the game is going. I always said that about Anthem. Oh, we're adding content. I don't care. Where's the game going? Why should I keep playing? Why should I commit? Why should I grind? Why should I max out a character? You know? I gave the analogy in the video. I said, if I tell you that we're going camping, and I don't tell you if we're going into cold or hot climate, you have no idea how to prepare. So what, are you going to bring everything? Why should I max out a character? Why should I grind? Why should I level? Why should I get loot? Oh, because it's fun. Well, sure, but when it has purpose, I think it has more lasting impact on the player's mind. And so if you know, oh, there's all this aspirational content coming, there's this harder content coming, there's these cooler situations with, you know, better rewards or whatever. Like, oh, but there's hard mode, Lono, and you get better drops in hard mode. Hard mode is merely going up the spiral staircase. I believe the spiral staircase has to arrive somewhere. Right? The spiral staircase is essentially you're gearing up to go up. That's how it works. That's how I've always phrased it. You're gearing up to go up. Oh, I'm stronger now. Go up, go up, go up. New area, harder difficulty, new boss, new whatever. That's all great. There has to be a destination. That spiral staircase has to get off somewhere, and you're like, all right, well, now we've got this, or now we've got that, or now we have this content structure. And I think that's where aspirational content can come into play. I think that's how you get people to say, well, 100 hours, 150 hours, whatever is worth it. Yeah, Kirk and I will be doing a show in about an hour. We're asking the question, Game of the Year 2024. Have we already played it? That's what we're going to be talking about. So thank you guys so much for being here. We do 2 shows on Monday. What's good, Crafty Martin? Good afternoon, Lono and everyone. Thank you so much, Crafty. Scariest part for me is that I put over 100 hours into the game and then they shut it down. I want some respect for my time investment. Well, I mean, that's a concern people have about this game because it's Nexon. People are like, well, if they don't make enough money, they'll just shut the game down. Weird way to say Star Wars Outlaws. I don't think people are opposed to having a game world to effectively live in, but the world needs to be attractive world to live in long term. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but I also don't know if I agree totally. I feel like I'm trying to think of a word to describe the First Descendant. It's very utilitarian. The environments are cool looking, but they're a means to an end. It's a pathway to another group of enemies, and a pathway to another group of enemies, and a pathway to a boss, and a room to fight the boss in. It's very utilitarian. Like, when you would step into a new strike in Destiny, what was the one on the one planet that looked like Vault of Glass, and it was all angular, and there's a section where you're like going almost like down a slope that's also very angular? There was something about the way they designed those environments that it always felt like there was this massive amount of scope and size, and just it creates intrigue. You're like, what in the world are we doing? Now, obviously, that's the first time you go in, but for me, if you're going to design these areas and you want them, and this is one of the words I use in the upload. Yeah, Pyramidion, thank you. Pyramidion's memorable. I still remember what it looks like today. Why? Well, because of the way they designed it. The First Descendant is very utilitarian. Every area you go is like, it's just another room, it's just another path, it's just another hallway. And here's the thing that really makes it clear that the content's very utilitarian in the First Descendant. When you go to fight the crescendo to an area, the crescendo to a boss, it's just a big room. It's just a big room. You know, there's no phases, there's no artistry. it's like a big training simulator. Right? Now, I'm not knocking it for that. I'm simply saying, buddy, if you want your game to be memorable, that's a really easy way to make it memorable is, man, put a little love into those rooms, put a little love into those levels. And that may never happen with the First Descendant. I feel like they very much have built a game that is a lot of connected parts to get you from point A to point B so you can keep doing looties and shooties. Now, I think that can be successful, but I also think it's one of the reasons why a lot of people are saying, I just don't get it. I think the game's boring and repetitive. They repurposed the Pyramidian boss fight for the Excalibur mission boss. Oh, nice. Excuse me. Missing a soul, no surprise of the game. That's just a copy and paste job at its core. I mean, I don't think it's copy and paste. I certainly think there are things that they lifted wholesale from other games, but I don't think the game itself is a copy and paste. Because I definitely feel that the combat and the abilities, I think that can truly shine. I do. I think one of the best ways to help it shine would be for them to give the characters more ability sets or something. Start augmenting the 4 abilities at the bottom. Give me an ultimate. Give me a super. Give me something to, create crescendo and bombast. Flying through the air and slamming is cool, but I need a little bit more than that, Thank you, Gaming for the Future, for becoming a member. That moves the goal on the day to 11. First brand new member of the day that's not a gifted, just choosing to pick up their own membership. Thank you so much for doing that. If you guys haven't done so already, man, smash that like button. Do all of the things. We appreciate you guys so much. And we appreciate the support. And if you have that membership, man, make sure you're getting in the Discord. Make sure you're doing all the things. And you guys have got a big goal this week. And it's 600 members before Friday. Last week, you actually came close to that. I played a scary game on Friday night. We played Still Wakes the Deep. That game is actually really good. It is. I was enjoying it. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and walk this guy to the door. Use derogatory language just because people like a game that you don't. I think, gotta seek help, man. It's not that serious. The First Descendant is a pure distillation of everything that fires that dopamine cycle. It's stripped away of all the unnecessary stuff. I mean, I think that's one way of phrasing it. Yeah, that's why I said it's just very utilitarian. They're just trying to get you to the next room so that you can keep shooting stuff. Right? They're just trying to get you to the next mission. That dude didn't last long. Well, he used a pretty nasty term to refer to people playing Destiny. It's like, dude, it isn't that serious. Gee, many Christmas. I forgot his pills. Still Wakes the Deep. I can understand the monster's Scottish better than the other Scots. People who like different things than me are not only wrong, but also bad people. Yeah. I was laughing at how scared you were playing the game on Friday until a spider jumped on my arm in the dark, and I was like, oh, yeah, right? Yeah. I wish the story was engaging. I have no idea what's going on in the story besides the Iron Hearts. Yeah, I mean, I don't need a compelling story in a looter shooter. I don't. But I definitely think it can help. I don't disagree that it can help. The other day when we had that disagreement, it was being trotted out as like almost a necessity. And I was like, I don't think it's a necessity. I definitely think it can help. I just think a lot of people end up ignoring stuff like that. The fact that it's free to play makes it seem dubious at best. I feel like they're going to throw in some heavy-handed gacha tactics. Well, no, I actually don't think there's any risk of it turning into a gacha game because it's more built around the Warframe grind, which is more likely to land in a lane of pay to skip. Like I don't think it suddenly turns into Genshin. I think it would, if they do anything, they'll squeeze earn rates and try to get you to spend money that way. I think that would be the bigger risk. I don't think there's like a, I don't think they laid a lot of groundwork for gacha mechanics. Gacha mechanics, I think, would land better in a game that is constantly introducing the characters, and there's no way for you to, like, if you grind enough like in Warframe, then, you know, you can get it or whatever. I mean, maybe you're right. I mean, they certainly could just be like, no, yeah, we're going to introduce characters and you can pull for them. Because right now, the fastest way to get the characters is you either buy them outright or grind. Gacha works in an environment where you can't just buy the character outright, you're pulling. And the more you spend, the better your chances get, and that's how they get money from you. No. You never got the dopamine hit from the First Descendant? It's weird, like, for me, it starts to hit when I just sort of keep going, and all of a sudden I'm like, yep, this is satisfying, I'm moving, I'm grooving, like I'm kind of going through those motions. It almost takes a second. And the weird thing is it, as I said in the upload, it doesn't give me the itch. I didn't think about that game once over the weekend. I wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to go back and play. It was like, there's other games to play. Like, I like it. It's fun, but it hasn't given me the itch. Now, I don't want to use that as evidence that it's a bad game. I tried to argue that it's because it's not memorable, not that it's bad. It's like, yeah, it just isn't very memorable. You know. It's more like high roller offerings for guaranteed luxury items. Yeah, that's where they're going to make their money, is by, you know, selling you an ultimate descendant that you don't want to grind for. Fuzzy Muffin left a comment on the video, says, I think the number of players who want to bed down to one game is dwindling. You already have your staples, Destiny, WoW, Final Fantasy. I think unless you are completely unique, you are not going to see games be able to hold their massive followings like they used to. There are plenty to scratch the ongoing itch. Or build it in a way that assumes breaks and makes it easy to come back. You know? If you build a game that's like, it's clear you're going to be taking breaks and they make it easy for you to come back, I think that's the ticket. You almost have to admit you don't have to live in our game. You know? You almost have to admit that to people. Like, it's okay to take a break. We didn't design this game to be a forever game that you know life. You know? There's a grapple hook ultimate mod that lets you grapple anywhere in the air. It feels so good. Yeah. Creature got that one because of how double jump he said was failing him. It's very mid. I walked away from it and honestly didn't think about it until I saw your title for your stream. Yeah, I mean, I think that there are people on both sides. There are people that are like, man, I'm having a blast, I'm playing a bunch. And then there are people that are like, no, I didn't like it. I've already walked away, or I didn't enjoy it, or whatever the case may be. And I think that's part of that is what I've been trying to talk about this morning, is that I don't think it has that memorable punch. I don't. And I think that that's okay, but I think that's part of why some people are like, they're literally saying, I don't get it. And then people on the other side of the issue are like, what are you talking about, dude? It's so addicting, it's so fun, it's so satisfying. So you were trying to use your grapple in No Man's Sky. It sounds like you were playing a little bit too much the First Descendant. There's 3 different ones. I'd want the one with more range. It would be great for basic. Yeah, like you could just reach certain heights easier, reach certain cliffs easier. There's multiple times where I feel that, right? Okay, that's fine, Kirk. Yeah, I don't have a lot of structure for this morning, Kirk. It's just going to be a conversation, Good old-fashioned back and forth. We're going to make them wait, though. We're going to make them wait for the Game of the Year discussion, just like the ceremony. I liked it. It's fun for when you shoot the stuff, but Once Human is just more my type of game, so it won out. And a 5-bomb from Sneaky Wolf says, come on, boys, let's get this goal going. You guys got a big week ahead of you. 16 out of 25. Every 25, I give 5 back to say thank you to the community. And if you guys can hit 600 members this week, you're going to make Creature play Overcooked with me on Friday night. He always gets really cocky when we have a slow start to the week. So, let's let this guy know that what he's going to be doing on Friday night. I don't think we've missed. Have we missed one yet? Did we miss? I think we did. Oh, did we miss right before I went on my trip? That was the time that we missed, but I don't think that was a Creature stream. No, that was like the first week. Yeah, that was the Rage game. Yeah. I got to dodge the Rage game. But I don't think we've missed a Creature stream yet, so let's keep that streak going. Speaking with my friend about this the other day, says King Salty, how some characters don't feel fleshed out. I personally think they need a skill tree for each descendant that helps focus ability effectiveness. I agree with you, Salty. I feel like that would help the characters have a little bit more identity. I was thinking about that with, like, my daughter likes to play as Valby, and she just puts water all over the place. It would be really fun to be able to go into her skill tree and build out the 2 abilities that she really likes using the most. Some of them, it's just like, yeah, these are a little bit more challenging or whatever. Same with Kyle. Like, I would love to have the ability to, like, be shoulder charging more, and maybe it creates like chain lightning or something, or a chain damage or something. I don't know. I thought Still Wakes the Deep was good, yes, and it is on Game Pass. Yeah, I think a pity system would ruin the whole point of the game, just like crafting took the grind out of Destiny. You get the pattern. You get the pattern games over. Oh, you get the pattern in the games over at that point. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't think the pity system would ruin the whole point of the game. I think it would bolster the point of the game, Brian, and here's how. If you're grinding and you go and you do an activity 10 times and you don't get the drop that you're looking for, all of the drops that you got instead could then be spent as pity toward the item that you want. What it's doing is it's working within the confines of the game. It's working within the structure of the game to allow you to say, I'm going to add purpose to my grind. Like, I'm going to get something out of this. Even if I don't get the item that I want, I'm getting myself closer. I don't think that giving people more volition and control over their I don't think giving people more control and volition over their experience is a bad thing. If you give them too much control, you're right. Like if somebody said, well, I just want to play First Descendant and be able to get stuff to drop every time, just pick what I want. Like if somebody was advocating for like a 100% drop rate. Well, no, that wouldn't work. You can't gut the identity of the game. I don't think that's a good idea. But I think a pity system would help give people a little bit more volition over their playtime. Pity won't ruin the game. It values the player's time investment. The pity system could be as simple as adding 1% extra to the drop, but you want that till you get it. I like the idea of when you get duplicates, the duplicates can be spent to increase pity on a particular item. So you're like targeting that item with the pity. And the items that you get where you're like, oh, I got another one. You would actually be like, oh, good. The duplicate, at least I got a duplicate. I can use that to help. Just a flat pity increase every time. I feel like you'd get a lot of people like rubber banding their controllers to avoid AFK kicks. That way they just run the event, over the content over and over and over and over and over again, and then pity just goes up every time. You want them actively engaging with the mechanics, not, just... I know they're putting in protections for AFK, but people would certainly figure out ways to script it, macro it, whatever. So they would just load into an activity over and over and over again, getting base pity increases. Kumi says, the beauty of this game is that right now people are discovering new metas and new ways to mod your character or your weapons. This game doesn't hold your hand a lot. You have to figure out stuff yourself. Yeah, I think that is one of the things that does make a game compelling, when you figure things out on your own, for sure. you feel like you navigated the game systems and came up with a good solution, so that when you're killing a boss quickly or you're grinding content quickly, you feel like it's the result of your actions and your choices, and that increases the satisfaction quite a bit. I agree with that. Zenless Zone Zero has some cool ideas, but it's a bit Persona-ish in the style. Yeah, I mean, I think the concern there is that that's also going to turn into another, you know, what we've been dealing with here is the concern about the micros. Crafting loot in Destiny is for people that won't play aspirational content. You can't craft adept guns in Destiny. I mean, I've not played the game in forever, so I don't know. I've not touched the game in over 3 years, so I couldn't tell you how the systems in that game work. I feel like not enough people are talking about Once Human over this. Once Human is such a better game than this. Well, I think the challenge with Once Human is that it's PC only right now, and you know that's always going to limit your reach a little bit. Once Human has a good rating on Steam now. It had a rough start because there were some issues, but it's got a 70%, mostly positive. You know, Once Human is free to play. So if they can start to get it on other platforms, I think that, you know, it could be in a good spot. My struggle with PC only games is it really stiff arms a lot of my audience. I have a lot of people who play on Xbox and PlayStation, or both. And they're like, yeah, I don't really dig PC. So, you know, I would say about 60% of my audience, when I do a PC-only game, they're like, they just check out mentally because they're like, I can't even play it. You know, which is why I'm actually very interested in how well New World does when it comes to console. Because I think New World is a very, you know, mid-lane player MMO. It's very approachable. It's very pleasant to be in that world. People that play aspirational content do so with their perfectly crafted gear. It's not limited to specific groups. No. The season wipes are not as big of a deal as people think if people check out what's actually being wiped. Once Human didn't have issues, people are stupid and don't understand TOS. I don't even know what was going on. I just know people were having issues with it. They were irritated and it was getting bad votes. You know, Are you going to stream Black Myth Wukong when it releases? Yes. Yeah. Any major game, if it releases, I try to play it the day it comes out. We don't typically go back. We went back with the First Descendant because we wanted to give it a fair shot. We had such good results day one with it. We thought, hey, let's give this another go. I would say turnout today and on the premiere is actually good. I was like, okay, you know, people are still very interested in this game. I was actually worried that people are going to turn their nose up, but we've got a pretty good amount of people here still playing the First Descendant. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to start playing First Descendant with regularity on the channel, but I would like to keep my toe in the game, keep an eye on it, so that when the next season starts, you know, we could talk about it and speak intelligently on it. Beyond that, I don't know. But with a game like Black Myth Wukong, we would definitely play it day one, check it out. And then typically what I end up doing then is I play the game off stream on my own. Because my ability to play games right now is sort of relegated to the evening on my couch. And so I did that with Rise of the Ronin. I did that with Stellar Blade. I did that with Prince of Persia. That's where I game right now. So, yeah. In the afternoon, when I typically gamed on stream, I am now working on an upload, which is something that I didn't have to used to do. That's like a new part of my my workflow. Yeah, is we're work. So that's why I really appreciate when you guys dogpile on those uploads in the morning and you hit the like button and you leave comments. That's really encouraging because we've really had to shift a lot. I'm kind of continuing to swim in waters that are unfamiliar to me. I spent 5 years being just purely a live streamer, and now I've been, for the last 4 years, I have been, trying to do both. Wonder how Rise of the Ronin is today. I don't know if I saw any major patches that were addressing performance issues. It probably still is rough around the edges. It wasn't a particularly pretty game either. It was hit or miss. Some areas looked really nice, and other areas I thought looked bad. You know, almost like old gen bad, but, you know. For a game that is time-gated, playing more than one character just because your friends are on a different server makes it hard to complete in the timeline. Right. I think that's got to be something they figure out how to rectify in Once Human. That was one of the things I saw people complaining about, like, you know, if you want to play with your buds, you got to get everybody on one server, and I think that's... There's nothing wrong with that, but I think there's got to be a way to figure out how to, you know, how to work around that. I don't have the tech solution, but I know that can be a frustration for people. I think people that are familiar with MMOs are like, this is just kind of par for the course, right? You and your buds pick a server. That happened with New World. But I think when you look at a game like Once Human, I think there's probably a lot of people in the mix that are just unfamiliar with that reality, and then they got really irritated, you know. I think New World will get a console player base, but for everyone on PC, it just seems like not enough of a content drop. Well, if you want my honest to goodness opinion on this, Astro City, New World's probably being brought to console so that they can spend a couple of years gathering data, player behavior, and then they're going to use that to inform the foundation for their Lord of the Rings MMO. I believe that New World is only being kept alive and continuing to be put in new places and get new content so that they can then benefit from all that info for the Lord of the Rings MMO. I think that's the long play. I don't think they're like, it's not like a long con. I don't think they're like defrauding players or tricking players. That's just my theory. Is I think they're going to want to put the Lord of the Rings MMO everywhere, and they want that game to be, that's their big push, I think. I think a lot of companies are doing that right now, if I'm honest. I think the live service games from PlayStation are in a similar vein. They're throwing games out that they know aren't going to last for more than maybe a couple of years, and they're using it to gather intel. So, I don't think they expected Helldivers to be as popular as it is. I don't think they expect Concord to be all that popular. Oh, you thought the Lord of the Rings thing was canceled? As far as I know, it's not canceled. I don't think so. The player-based numbers for New World, it doesn't make sense why they continue to invest in the game. Like, it doesn't add up. It's like, you guys aren't there's no way you're making enough money to warrant this. Well, it's warranted. It's warranted if it's providing you with intel and info for another project. There was one that got canceled. Yeah, I don't think the one that Amazon has the rights to and that they're going to be working on, I don't think that's the one that got canceled. I think that one's still going forward. Rise of the Ronin, pretty bad for $70. The open world was filled with empty shacks, dead NPCs, cloned missions, and side missions throughout the entire game. Also, the pop-it-in draw distance. Yeah, I couldn't strongly recommend Ronin to anybody. It was certainly better than I expected, but the more I played, the more I was like, performance issues got worse in certain areas. You know, they didn't just get worse in some areas. Like it downright looked bad in a lot of the areas. And then I thought the combat took a turn for the worse near the end game. It was like, I'm this samurai that's learned all these amazing stances, and you know, I've got all these great ways of using swords and hand to hand. And then I'm fighting people that are flying around the room like Iron Man, you know. Like fighting a boss that literally has rockets on his feet and can like fly around. It just felt stupid. I was like, what are we doing here? You know? It wasn't even hard. It was just annoying. It was like, it's not hard. You would just switch characters and spam them, and you could kill pretty much any boss relatively easily. It just felt really weird. It'd be like getting to the end of Elden Ring and fighting a guy with lasers and a gun. You'd be like, what's happening? Enemy quick flash attacks and flying are BS. Yeah, it just became like, what are we doing here? You know, like the end of Sekiro and the end of Ghost of Tsushima, I feel like all that I've learned and all that I've practiced and honed is put to the test. And when you get to the end of Rise of the Ronin, they're like, well, you got to fight Iron Man, so have fun with that. It's like, what? What? Can I do that? Can I fly around the room? No? Okay. You could fly around too after unlocking the fighting style. Sure, but that still wouldn't mitigate them flying around. Like, I unlocked stances and worked on stances that made me feel like a samurai, not a superhero, you know? It just didn't feel, it felt thematically really weird. It was like, what are we doing here? So, I think that's probably PlayStation's weak, well, no, Foam Stars is. Yes, Ronin's one of their weaker releases this year. Good, solid, but it's got some pretty weak points. Ronin is in no way pushing the envelope in terms of visual or mechanical offerings, but it is a video game. It's just good fun for the most part. Yeah, I liked it. I did. I thought it was a little too long, you know, and I thought that's probably part of the problem at the end, you know. You bought Ronin and you never played it? I actually think it's worth a playthrough if you've got the time, because it is pretty long. Like you're not beating that in quick order. Like it's gonna take a minute. I had a lot more fun with Stellar Blade. Than I did Ronin. Finished Erdtree. Second run Saturday. Immediately started a new run Sunday. Already back to Moog the long way. Still hate how much effing writing there is. Robinson, not sure why you're typing in caps here, but I'm going to read what you have here. If the First Descendant's on Unreal 5.2, can they upgrade to the latest version of 5.4 and improve the graphics of the game? I don't have a lot of insight onto how that works, you know, as far as like game dev and engines go. I've got a very, you know, rudimentary understanding of a lot of it. Like I can talk about engines and the ones that I think look good and the ones that I feel like are more scalable and more agile, but I don't know how switching from 5.2 Unreal to 5.4 would go. Yo, Ross, with 7 months of membership, says, sounds like a memorable boss fight. Yeah, it was memorable, all right, for all the wrong reasons. I was like, can you stop flying around and come down here and fight me? You know? And then they would slam the ground, create an explosion, create area of effect, create dot damage. I was like, oh, all you games are the same. How are we going to make it hard? I've got an idea. Make the boss really fast, and then use AoE, and then use dot damage. It's like, can we just use our swords? Like, you know, we've been using our swords the whole time. Let's just do that. That's satisfying. That's fun. You know? 5.4 should improve performance. It's got better multi-threading than previous versions. Huh. Well, there you go. There you go. Guys, thank you again for being here. Take a quick second. Smash that like button. In about 30 minutes, we're going to shift to a live stream with Kirk about the Game of the Year 2024. Have we already played it? We're basically halfway through the year, right? Has it yet to come out? We're going to be debating that. We'll debate some of the other categories too, you know, action games and ongoing games, you know? So, yep. Honestly, I'd rather they stick with Unreal 4 and just make a lived-in world like Rebirth. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you're going to make a world, I think you almost are faced with two choices. You can go heavy on art direction and really make it feel, you know, like, you know, the art direction and the feel of, you know, a Breath of the Wild or an Elden Ring. And then I think the other extreme is sort of, hey, this is just a place for you to play the video game, right? I think those are the two extremes. First Descendant, as we said a little bit earlier, it's very much just like, it's utilitarian. Point A to point B, you know, all of that. Off topic, but I'm happy Nexon on balancing and buffing things in the game evenly rather than nerfing due to a vocal minority. Coming from playing Helldivers 2, this is so fresh. Well, yeah, I actually gave them a little bit of props. I was like, yeah, they're trying to give people what they want, you know. They're trying to give people what they want. And they're saying, listen, if that's what you enjoy, or if you guys want the drop rates to be better, or this, that, and the third, it feels like they're doing a good job listening to the community. So, guys, take a quick second. If you are actively paying for your membership, check that $sign at the bottom of the chat. You may have a membership renewal to celebrate. And if you're paying for Member Plus or VIP, that adds to the goal. So make sure you guys are always celebrating those renewals. We want to say thank you to the people supporting the channel directly. You can also gift members, and every 25 I gift back. So make sure you guys are double checking to see if you have a member renewal. You can help us hit those goals as well. It's not all about the gifteds anymore. We're also wanting to say thank you to all of you who support the channel directly every single month. No Man's Sky released another hot fix, so that's out. I think people said that what is today or tomorrow. It's this week. I just don't remember the day where the new expedition is gonna start. Why nerf a PvE game? It makes no sense. And Zubair gifts a single member and bumps the line to 17. Thank you, Zuby. Well, I mean, there are reasons to gift. Reasons to gift, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's reasons to gift. It goes to Dustin Straw. Make sure you guys are saying thank you if you get a gifted member. There are reasons to nerf a PvE game, right? No, this is not the dark blend gaming for the future. This is our medium blend. We're doing Frickmas in July. So our holiday blend, we're bringing back a short run just for July. So reforgeroast.com to get your orders in. But we also have a light roast and a dark roast. I think there are reasons to nerf a PvE game. You know, if something is invalidating content, if something is making a hard piece of content a joke, you've got to be careful. You know, you've really got to be careful, because you can. I get not wanting to take things away from people that are fun. I do. And this is why balance is honestly sort of important before the game comes out. You have to make sure that whatever you give the player isn't going to tip the scales that heavily, so that if you do have to make adjustments, you're not creating this, oh yeah, we had something fun and then they took it away, right? That's the general vibe of when a PvE game gets nerfed, and you don't want that, right? What's your stream setup? Says JJ Muggs. Could you link in a post? I don't have my my setup listed anywhere. Sorry. It's a rig that's actually quite old at this point. It's like a 4 or 5 year old rig that Micro Center sent me, and I've got some Sony A6000 cameras and a Shure SM7B microphone. I mean, I don't have that all listed somewhere. PvE doesn't need to balance between players. It needs to balance between the player and the game. Right. You've got to be careful, because again, you don't want your game to be invalidated. You don't want people running around and like, you know, bink. Yeah, everything's gonna be awesome. Everything's gonna die. Everything's gonna get destroyed fast. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who Reaper. I don't know who timed you out. You don't have any chat history on my channel. It says you've had it says you've had your YouTube account for 9 years. I didn't see anybody time you out, homie. I'm over here supporting you and I get timed out for no reason. I don't know who timed you out, bud. It wasn't me. Sorry, I hate calling people bud. I didn't time you out. I didn't see anybody get timed out. What are you talking about? You're able to talk in chat. Okay, brother, no worries. Yeah. If you, JJ Muggs, if you have a question specifically about something that I'm using, I'm happy to answer your question. But I don't have it listed somewhere. Oh, did Nightbot my other account? But it's all good. Wait, I don't understand. What? You have a 9-year-old YouTube account. Why did you come in on another account? Did Nightbot get you? Nightbot will sometimes get you if it thinks you're trying to post a link or something. Maybe you got bopped by Nightbot. I don't know what you're talking about, man. We've not had any issues this morning having to time anybody out. Even the one guy was typing in all caps. I said, "Hey, you don't need to do that." And then I answered his question. I'm not sure if Nightbot hit you because of all caps. I don't understand why you would come in on a different account though. It also helps to nerf, so I'm not forced to play the same broken build all the time. Well, some people would say, McElden, they would push back on what you're saying, and they would say, well, why not just make other builds stronger? There's definitely an element of, hey, if there's strong builds, just make other strong builds. And I think that sometimes is a good approach. Like, if you got somebody that everybody's clamoring to because they want to, oh yeah, were you the guy being nasty about Destiny? That guy was a different guy, I think. The guy being nasty about Destiny was that wasn't a timeout. I banned that guy. It was like, you're not going to come in here and use derogatory terms and insult people. Yo, Jake with 35 months says, dang, almost 3 years. Thank you so much, Jake. I don't think he's the Destiny guy. The Destiny guy also had his account for a really long time. Why would you? Well, you got 2 YouTube accounts that you've had for almost a decade? That's just kind of weird, man. And a $1 super chat from JJ Muggs. Thank you so much. I don't know. He got timed out on an alt account and he's upset about it. I don't know what in the heck happened. I don't know. Not sure what's going on. Yo, what's good, Donnie? How are you? So yeah, I do think sometimes it is the appropriate feedback to say, hey, just buff other stuff. That rhymes. Just bring up other things so that way you can have other options as a player, instead of just like hammering down the good build. I think it's delicate though. What's good, Corey? It's delicate because you can't just leave a really strong build to run wild. You also can't just nerf every time something becomes strong. You can't just buff every other gun or build or ability in the game. There's a delicate balance. I do think, though, my general principle and axiom on this is, where possible, raise other things. Right? I make it conditional. Where it's possible, you should be buffing other things. If it's not possible, if it's really going to be detrimental to the health of the game, then you got to rip the Band-Aid off and nerf the thing that everybody's loving. Just get it out of the way and get it done quick. I think the best way to soften that blow is, once again, buff where it's possible. It was Zavis times 2 account. I made a YouTube channel a few days ago. I was randomly scrolling and clicked on you because I was looking about the game, but it's cool, bro. I subbed from my 2 accounts. Keep it up. Nice setup. Maybe one of my mods got you. I don't know. Maybe Nightbot got you. I'm not sure what you're talking about. It's why seasons have a new sandbox can work. It's okay for something to be the best and broken for that season. That's tough, though, in a game like The First Descendant, Paul, where there's like 16 or 17 characters. A ridiculous loot pool. JJ Muggs with another $1 super chat. Thank you so much. A lot of guns, a lot of abilities, a lot of stuff. If Bunny ends up feeling way stronger than everybody else, I don't know if a season can change that necessarily. Jose Fernando with 7 months. The First Descendant is another generic multiplayer game, so it'll be like Warframe. Somebody will play that because it's boring, but that's it. Very repetitive. Thanks for 7 months of memberships. I appreciate that. Yeah, Warframe's been around for a while, and it never hooked me at all. Slave to the System says, sometimes YouTube shadow bans my comments. They either don't show up for other users or they get deleted. Talking YouTube in general. I've seen that happen to people because of their username. Maybe YouTube's not fond of you having the word slave in your name. I'm not sure. I definitely have seen people get consistently thrown into, you have to approve this comment, and it's because of their username. It's fun at the beginning, but that's it. Well, Ponchozo left a comment here, and he says, so far, the first month of the game has a lot more content than any looter shooter in its first year. Also, the devs are fixing things without nerfs. I left Destiny 2 because I'm having more fun here. Sounds good. Glad people are enjoying it. Now, this guy here, Evermore, says it's probably going to get a small but dedicated community. I think that's possible. You could end up with a small but committed community, kind of like you've seen in Warframe. Resident Recon says, I feel like the question, how long will it last? Honestly, I feel like that's a subjective question because games last as long as the player wants. I enjoy the First Descendant and see playing it for years to come. I don't feel like the question's subjective. I feel like the results are subjective to player opinion, which all questions are about games. Is it a good game? Is it a fun game? Is it a hard game? Well, that's obviously going to get subjective answers from users. You know, the question, how long will it last or will it last, is also asking fundamentally, is this something that they're investing in and changing and updating in the right way to keep people? You know? Yeah, player taste is subjective. Player behavior is objective, right? Exactly. Like, one leads to the other. If the player taste is subjective and largely is loving the game and what they're doing in the direction from the developer, then guess what? They'll get the engagement they need to warrant keeping the game going and continuing to invest in it. Or the opposite happens, right? Not enough people play. You start losing your player pool and your player base, and then that's the end of that, you know? They need PvP? No, I disagree. I think PvP is one of the worst things you can put in a game like this. It's one of the worst things. It doesn't belong. You build a game around PvE content and a PvE grind and all these different crazy abilities, and then you suddenly try and add PvP. You've got to tune your entire game for that. You got to tune everybody that can debuff, everybody that's DPS, burst DPS, support. All of their abilities had to be tuned for the fact that, well, now you can kill other players. You know, you download it. Is it worth playing or not? It's a little like Destiny. I think it's a game worth giving an afternoon to. Pick the free characters. Don't spend any money. You know, I recommend picking Lepic. I think Lepic is the most, like, just like the soldier throwing grenades and having a blast. You know, I would pick Lepic of the free characters. Don't spend any money. Play it for an afternoon. You'll know after an afternoon if it's a game you want to go the distance with. It'll either hook you or it won't. Don't spend any money. Don't do that. Don't go buying Descendants. You want to make sure it's a game, once you start to understand the systems and the flow and the feel, that then you might feel like, okay, maybe I want to buy a character. That's what I did. I was like, I wanted to test out the buying systems and the prices and let people know here's how it all works, you know, and I feel like I've gotten more than my money's worth out of this game because my kiddos are playing, I'm playing. It's just fun to grind. My kids just like to run around and shoot the baddies. Like, I have them skip all the cutscenes. I turn the dialogue off. And they just run around and shoot stuff, you know. Use Lepic, get Bunny, and then ride on. Yeah, you could do that. Bunny's pretty quick and pretty free just by playing the game. Yeah. Yeah, Ajax is solid too. I just feel like Lepic has a little bit more of the bombast, you know. Yeah, Ajax has some bombast too. He's got some slams that are really fun. My son plays as him. He plays more defensively. So, Paul says, if this game drops under 15,000 players, it's over. I don't think people know what dev they're dealing with here. Bear says, what's your base for that assertion? I don't know about the dev. They're known for killing games once they don't get enough support, Zubair. They've done it before. Would you recommend First Descendant on PC or PS5? They made a couple nice fixes and updates and patches. I have no issue with it right now on PS5. It runs great. So I've seen people get really, you know, it's really good looking on PC if you've got a rig that can kind of turn some stuff up, you know. Paul's just talking as usual. I don't agree. I think there's validity to what Paul's saying. This developer has done that. They've abandoned games. And to be quite honest with you, that's what you should expect. If somebody throws out a live service game, it's not successful enough, not enough players, not enough money, expect them to shut it down and walk away. What do you expect them to do? Turn into a charity? Well, just keep the servers going, patches going, updates, and new content. We don't need money. Like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to fund games just for forever. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying you need to go into these games with your eyes wide open. If you play a game like this and you're having fun and you're putting some scratch on the table and you're spending some money, you know you're taking a risk. You know you're taking a risk. In a couple of years, they could say, we're not making enough. In a couple of years, they could say, we're going in a different direction. Like, I'm not saying that they should or that they should be allowed to. I'm saying that's the risk you take when you play a game like this, is that they could wash their hands of it in 2 years. If they realize the money spent maintaining it's better spent developing a new game, they'll 100% shut it down as fast as possible. Yeah. Yeah. I think Nexon is a little bit more bold to do it, you know. But I think you should expect this from any game like this. Any game. You just should. Not everyone's going to pull a No Man's Sky and support a game for 5 years and then say, right, exactly. Not everybody's Hello Games. Like, the operating cost of these companies is large enough that they're not going to press on if they're not making enough money. Yeah, Nexon pulls the trigger a little faster than most. This is true. I think the Wayfinder reboot will be your looter, Lono, with the rework. You can earn cosmetics, colors, and gear drops. PS5 version should be out soon. I'm anxious to try it out, Jace, because I liked Wayfinder when I first saw it, you know, and then that to me is another game that could really go the distance. Why? They're listening to the players. You know? They're listening to the players. That's the only way. Sneaky Wolf, check my last comment, please, and thank you. These devs are also known for a decade-long scam, and no one will get their money back. What's the decade-long scam, Sneaky Wolf? Can you give me the too long didn't read? Is that the one? Is that the one that they walk? It's got a weird name. Maple Story. Is that the one? They basically just walked away from the game, and everybody's really, really angry with them about it. I think it's Maple Story is the game you're referring to. This guy left a comment here. Bookkeeper Gaming says, good vid and take on the game. I'm new to the looter shooter genre, but not free to play MMO games. I'm really enjoying the game and the diversity of the characters and the playstyles. I feel like if you are the type that sticks to one character, this game could get boring very quickly in the end game. So like you said, they need that super challenging and memorable thing. Honestly, I'm fine with just grinding to make each character's meta loadout while they figure out better end game content. I feel like figuring out the end game is par for the course for free to play MMO games at this point. I'm just going to say thanks to that guy. That's a nice comment. Wayfinder is ditching its free-to-play live service model to become a paid co-op RPG without microtransactions. They pivoted because they didn't have any money. At one point, there was 18 concurrent. Well, let's hope that it works, because I thought it looked good. I think the only thing hurting Wayfinder is it doesn't have a unique art style. It looks like a lot of other games. They were selling loot boxes that basically had a 0.00001% drop rate. Maple Story's still going, so maybe I'm thinking of something else. Didn't they get sued for that? Nexon was recently sued? Didn't they pay out? I thought they got in trouble for that. I thought they got caught and they got sued for it. 95% of all Nexon games have been shut down a year after people spent their money. This is a Korean pay-to-win gacha company. They have a long list of games just like this. Bland, cheaply made environments, attempting to sell cosmetics. In fact, Nexon is so bad, they released DNF Duel for PC and then immediately abandoned it. And when asked why, they said they were afraid it might fail, so they didn't want to spend any more money for a season pass. Yeah, so basically, if this game makes it to its second year, then that's when we can say it'll last. Right? It's got to make it out of this first year. It was Maple Story. It's still going, but they had a system that people tried to get from loot boxes and they got sued. It was only 6 months ago. Impossible drop rate. There you go. So the answer to the question, the First Descendant, will it last? We won't know until they make it out of that first year. If they make it past that mark, then I think that, you have your answer. Like, okay, they made it. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee 3 minutes ago. Thank you so much, Sam, for ordering a bag of the Frickmas roast. Appreciate you so much. I can now shout those orders out, There, right there is an advertisement for the, for the light roast. So thank you guys for doing that. Thank you guys so much for all the likes. Let's try to get 300 likes. Let's try to hit 25 members before we go to Kirk. We've not missed that streak yet, and you guys are going to put yourself behind the 8 ball for Friday night. We haven't missed a creature stream yet, and your renewals help. They count towards a goal. I think Wayfinder is a straight-up solo co-op game, could actually be good. I have 60 hours in the MMO version, and the server issues hurt the experience. Yeah, I mean, it looked like a game I would play with my kiddos or my wife. It looked fun. What's the player count for First Descendant? It's actually, I didn't want to focus on that in the video, because I feel like that bogs the video down with like stats or whatever. But I will say this. Hang on, that's the wrong video card. Capture card, there we go. I will say this. The fact that they are still pulling 150K on weekends. How do I... Here, let me zoom this out. Okay, so if you look back here when it first came out, obviously it was hitting bigger player peaks, right? 264 is their current record. It quickly settled into a rhythm, though, of getting into the 170s, 160s, 170s, 190s, 190s. Now, it obviously has since dropped, so now it's hitting 150, 160 concurrents. This was some maintenance. 123, 142, and then goes back up. So 130, 120, 140, and then back up to 150. So this, to me, they're establishing, it looks to me like a floor where it's not dramatically dropping off. This looks like normal taper down after a launch. Back here, this is always going to be the highest, and then you're going to settle into a decline. Now, if the decline stops and slows, and they can hold that floor of always staying above 100,000 with their concurrent peak, I think they'll be fine. If they start to drop below 100,000 concurrents on Steam, even during peak hours, even during weekends, I would say that's a cause for concern. That's not... You want to see them at least be able to maintain hitting over 100,000 concurrents, because again, that's just Steam. That doesn't include Xbox and PlayStation, right? You want to be able to see them maintain that. If they can't maintain that, then I think the decline will be too fast and they'll walk away. We're not including console numbers. Right, and that's the point, though, is that it being on Steam, you get a barometer. You get a barometer of, how well it's doing. This is a helpful picture as well. Okay. US only, but interesting. Yeah, we have a... we got an image from Zircana here. So this is only the US, but we have PlayStation, top 10 games, Xbox, and Steam. So these are the top games ranked by active users. First Descendant is in 4th on PlayStation. It's in 3rd on Xbox, and it's in 3rd on Steam. All right? Now, I would say this is pretty good. This is pretty good considering that this is for... What month is this? Oh, this is for the week ending in July. Right? That's pretty good considering how long the game's been out at that point for it to maintain, a top 5 game, people playing in the top 5 on all 3 platforms. Right? What's COD HQ? COD HQ is now, if you load up Call of Duty, this is what you're opening. So you open this to play any of the games, including Warzone. You do this on the console. So, yeah. That was its 2nd week. Week ending in July 13th. I thought it came out longer ago than that. It came out on... No, its first week it came out on like its first full week is what you're saying, Eugene. That was its first full week. So during its first full week, it was in the top 5. So yeah, the question actually, now that we have that, we would want to track that and say, in a month, what about after Valby? When they do her update. Yeah. Yeah, I think that will give us a better barometer of like, are they maintaining are they maintaining the characters? I'm sorry. Are they maintaining the player base with new characters and with new content? Yeah. So we have a decent barometer of, okay, week 1, they were in top 5 on all 3 platforms. Where are they in a couple of months? You know, I think that'll give us a very good indication of like what Nexon thinks, you know, and what will then likely happen to the game long term. So I'm going to get Kirk on the line in just a few minutes, guys, and we're going to transition to a stream about Game of the Year. Have we played Game of the Year yet? Has it happened? Already out there, or is it coming? Should be a really good conversation. So take a quick second, smash that like button, and make sure you hit subscribe and the bell button if you want to talk in my chat. Subscribing is totally free. And then if you are a member, if you got gifted a member or you've been paying for your member, don't forget to connect with everybody in the members only Discord. It's a great place to hang out, especially when I'm not streaming. It's a great place to stay connected to everybody. Anthem has 1 viewer. The First Descendant has 13,000 viewers. Yeah. I wonder what's going on there. Do we think it's going so well because it's a relatively slow time? Listen, that is certainly a factor sometimes, and that can be the reason a game makes it. You know, that can be a reason that they make it, because it's like, hey, Wukong and Astro haven't come out yet. Yep, we'll be talking about those games. Are they you know, in the running? And bring your input. Bring your input. Give me just a moment. Probably noon sharp. Okay. Bring your input. We want to hear from you guys in this discussion. Like, have we played Game of the Year yet? You know. And Power will be eligible for awards despite being early access. Yes, early access games are in contention. Yes, that is answered on the Game Awards website. It obviously is up to the jury process. It's obviously up to all the people voting. If they feel like, you know, this early access game deserves it, so be it. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 didn't get any nominations or votes until it officially released, but it could have gotten them before, but it likely would have had to have been making a bigger splash. Like, I think it was getting good feedback and good praise from that core audience, but I think a lot of the times early access games are less likely to get it. They still can. I just think it's probably, you know, less likely to happen. If Kirk puts Skull and Bones up there, I'm unsubscribing. As it stands right now, Rebirth takes it. Can we vote yet? There's no voting yet. No, you guys can chime in. You can use the chat. You can use super chats. You can do all those things in the next stream to tell us what you think is going to win. If you think there are games coming that are going to win it, you know, you can feel free to share that. Also, double check, guys, if that $sign at the bottom of chat's flashing, it means you have a renewal to celebrate. Celebrate those renewals, man. If you're paying for a VIP or a Member Plus, we actually add that to the total now. You guys can bump the total. We can vote yay. Voting starts in October or November because the Game Awards will be in December. You will not be able to vote until about halfway through, probably the second half of November. The deadline is November the 15th, so a game needs to release prior to that. So there will be no voting prior to the end of November. No, run a poll. I don't know if we're going to be able to run a poll because you can only give so many options. We might have to pick a handful, and I guess you guys could help us pick the handful. Potential 60 million audience has played Astro on PS5. Will make Astro break all the records. Horizon had 30 million lifetime sales as a whole IP. Spider-Man in comparison sells 10 to 11 million copies. Will there be a poll? Maybe. Rebirth is the only logical choice for game of the year this year. The 92 meta is likely a low ball for how good the game is. We'll see. I think it's the front runner. We'll discuss that in the next stream, though. Hang on. Rebirth's likely game of the year unless something phenomenal comes out. Yeah, I'll give you guys my thoughts in the next stream. I don't want to cannibalize the next stream. That's where we're going next. I will get Kirk on the line here in a couple of minutes, and we'll get transition. You know what I can do? I can schedule the next stream. That's what I can do. While we wait, I'll schedule the next stream. Okay. I got it all typed up and ready to go. Okay. Let's go. Have we already played the game of the year? And I'll put us in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'll put us in that category since that's what everybody thinks. Everybody's pulling for that one. No. No, this does not contain altered content or videos. All those, AI channels are going to take over. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. I'll set it for 12:15. There we go. Scheduled. You're pulling for Stellar Blade. I don't think Stellar Blade has a shot at Game of the Year. I don't even think it gets a nomination. It could get a nomination for action. Combat was good. I don't think it will win action, but it could get a nomination for action game. First Descendant should stick to improving gameplay and new mechanics. Its narrative isn't its strength, so it can't be flexed on. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I wouldn't tell them to do much more with the story. No. Just did 25 times Dead Bride. Still didn't get Divine Punishment Nanotube. 20% drop rate. Yeah, no one's that unlucky. That like I said, I think some of the drop rates are bugged, Hotshot. I think there's something going on in the game causing an issue. You helped him get past the Dead Bride. Oh, you're saying, but you helped a bunch of noobs get past Dead Bride. There you go. Okay. My wife was ordering me lunch. We've had 3 weeks of just absolute insanity. So like she's not had a chance. I've not had a chance. Like go grocery shopping or get anything. As much as I would like to pre-order Wukong, I wish I had a demo actually to see if I'd like to play it. Yeah, a Black Myth Wukong demo would be pretty dope. I mean, they've been pretty bold with their gameplay. So, but it's possible. They could give us a demo. It certainly is possible they could give us a demo. They, like I said, they've been pretty bold with their gameplay. They've shown us a lot. Guys, we're only 8 away from the 25. We've not missed this streak in I don't even know how long, maybe 2 years. Let's try to bum rush that before I do this show with Kirk. I don't like to be talking members and gifted and all that when we're doing a podcast with somebody else. Also, smash the like button. Also, get ready to smash the like button whenever we go over to this new stream. Likes help every video, whether it's one of my uploads or a live show, which we'll be doing shortly. They have a demo for players at shows. I assume we get a demo soon. Oh, well, there you go. Good to go? Okay, Kirk's good to go. Good to go. All right, let me open up the volume mixer. Okay, not muted. I'm going to put a compressor on as well. We've been dealing with like inconsistent volume sometimes. Took me 2 days to get the Blair code. Absolute joke. Killed my desire to play anymore. Telling you, they need a pity system. They need something in there. Got to have pity on the players when they're getting those really, really bad runs and no drops. Or a lot of people are going to come to that same conclusion. I don't know if you're here and talking. I can't see or hear you.
Can't see me?
No.
Okay.
You can toggle it off and on. Sometimes that'll do it.
I can see myself.
Yeah. Just,
turn off camera, turn on camera?
Yeah, try that. Sometimes that just jogs it.
I did. Hang up and reconnect? What do you want to do?
I got you now.
Okay.
That was weird.
I lost you now.
All right, hang on. I have an idea.
Oh, no, I got you.
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah. Dude, you ever just wake up, didn't drink or anything night before, nothing, no reason for any issues, and your body's just like, yeah, no, nothing's gonna work today. Like, you're just gonna feel terrible. That's what's going on with me right now. It's like, yeah, we're gonna give you a headache, stomach ache, maybe throw in a little bit of some other issues, some joint pain, maybe.
Man,
just give you the works.
That's not good.
No. I guess that's the perks of looking 16 but not being 16 in actuality. Yeah. I figured I'd, in honor of College Football 25's release, I'd sport my Carolina Gamecocks. I pity all of you guys for not knowing how amazing it feels to unironically shout "Go Cox" at the top of your lungs. It's a liberating feeling. It really is.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate. It's like a bucket list item.
Dude, the Astrobot funnel is terrible. If you try to search Astrobot, it's like it just gives you all of the old videos.
Dave, I love NCAA 25. It's got me in a vice grip right now.
All right, I got to get the overlay from Creature.
Kirk can't see himself in a mirror. Oh, is that like another vampire joke?
I think that's a vampire joke. It's not a particularly very good one, but it is one.
Yeah. Kirk is John Cena. You can't see.
Yeah, I thought that was a better joke.
Yeah. Good one, Dave. Oh, Donnie's in the chat. What's up, Donnie?
Wrong scene switch. I'll be right back, chat.
Yeah, guys, I want to go get some sun, but been busy. And then today I feel off. Pretty bad headache today, but we're gonna do the show still. The show must go on. Yeah, college football is awesome. I float in water, Jesus. Wait, I thought it would like witches would Oh no, yeah, witches would float, but they would sink, so they just kill them. Yeah, I'm not touching that, Kevin. Yeah, Liquid, I wonder if you'll be able to do that. Have they probably have commented on that, right? I'm sure you can do that. Dude, Zinthos, I took Excedrin and I'm drinking Powerade. Start working. I mean, it's working. Like, I'm here. Yeah, I'm trying, Raven. I'm trying. Chris F, the Concord numbers are awful. I still think Lono's... Why'd I call him Lono? See, that's how off my game I am today. I mean, whatever. I thought I said Lano, but I didn't. That's how off my game I am today. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I still think his analysis is like not great. Because there's nothing wrong with like the fundamental gameplay style being as close to Overwatch as anything that's like mainstream. I mean, you get with your team, you coordinate with your team, you push certain angles. It should be 5v5 or 5v4. You get into a firefight, somebody gets a pick on their tank or one of their DPS or whatever, and then that team starts to fall. Or you can maybe survive one pick, you can't survive two. And then one team wipes, or one or two players are elusive and they get away and they regroup with their team, and then you repeat, and then you have another firefight. And so it's just those skirmishes of 4v5 or 5v5 that happen repeatedly over the course of a match, and like that's fun because the gameplay is tight. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it, Kevin, because nobody seems to be on board with it. So double digits, like no, they were in the. It was like 2,000, I think, over the weekend on PC, on Steam. I think it's a lot higher on PlayStation because you do not have to wait to queue into a match at all on PlayStation. It's really nice. It is better than Madden. It's definitely better than Madden. 100% better than Madden. I did try throwing in Liberty, Jaggy. I was planning on doing a review. I don't know that I'm going to do that anymore because it's much more of an MMO than First Descendant is. And I don't know if I'm qualified. That's one thing about me is like I'm not like Dreamcast guy or one of these other jabronis out here. Like if I like the reason that I think that my review videos can do well is that I'm not willing to do a review video where I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. And so yeah, inevitably you get people on any of my review videos that are like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, but like I do. And the reason I can be confident in that is that I'm not going to do a video on a game where I don't know what I'm talking about. And when it comes to MMOs, like actual MMOs, not MMO lights like Destiny or Avengers or First Descendant or Division, when it comes to actual MMOs like WoW and Final Fantasy 14, I have no idea what the frick's going on. Like I'm not gonna be able to qualitatively evaluate it within the genre. Like I can analyze it and evaluate it from a reviewer standpoint of, is this video game fun? But like I don't know if that's like valuable to people. Like it's probably going to be people that play MMOs that want to know, how does this stack up against other MMOs, and is this worth investing my time in when I play other MMOs already? And like I don't know the answer to those questions, so I think I'm probably not going to do a review on it. But what I saw was really, really cool. I like the setting. I like that the vibe is kind of like it's like a combination of like Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy 16 kind of. I really like just the aesthetics. The visuals look amazing. I wish it was a little bit more similar to the First Descendant. Like I wish it was more simplified and better for like a casual audience. That's another thing that I really like about Skull and Bones, is that it's very approachable. Like anybody can pick up and play that game, when it in reality it basically is an MMO light type of game. I like games that are kind of couched like that. Like they're MMO adjacent, but they're very approachable for a casual audience. Monster Hunter World was another example of like, it's less on the MMO side than even First Descendant is. But like I like those type of games. I've never really gelled with a traditional MMO. I keep telling myself that I'm gonna go play the Elder Scrolls Online because I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan, and I've never sunk more than like 20-25 hours into it. So I need to just block off a month in the summer at some point or whenever and play Elder Scrolls Online. I played it for like 1 month way back when like the second or third expansion came out. Yeah, it's definitely a pure MMO. What makes NCAA better than Madden? Oh my god, so many things. And I'm not just saying that. Like, the Dynasty mode is like so much more. It's so much better at giving you things and systems to engage with that aren't just tedious than like Madden is. Like my Madden 24 review is on my channel if you guys want to check it out. It's a bit rough. Like, if you guys want to kind of laugh at like my older reviewing style, I'm literally doing this. Like, I'm looking into a camera and talking while I'm doing the review. So it was kind of like a proof of concept for what Lono and I do on the show, more so than it was for my reviews. I ended up pivoting off of that style on my own channel. But if you want to see like kind of what I do on this show with Lono, but just me by myself breaking down Madden 24, I have a video of that on my channel, so go check that out. I'm proud of that video. It was good for like my second review ever. But I talk about how disappointing that franchise mode is and how I didn't like it. And NCAA is a complete 180 on that. It's so engrossing. It's so engaging, especially the recruiting and just all of the like strategy involved in recruitment, in redshirting players, in choosing your playbooks, in how you set up your schedule so that you can be ranked high going into the playoff, but you weren't overly tested. There's just so much going on there, and it's really awesome how much attention to detail they showed with all the different schools, their various stadiums, their traditions, like the things they do, like when their team comes in to start the game, like all that stuff. I know for my alma mater, South Carolina, it's incredibly accurate. It literally feels like being in the stadium, like the cadence and the beats from like first down to third down to getting a first down to scoring a touchdown. Everything, like the band plays the right thing, the crowd chants the right thing. It feels like actually being in the stadium. And that's so cool. Like Madden doesn't deliver on that experience at all. And that's not really to discredit Madden. It's just like, I don't know that it really can do that. Well, Saints, I've not had the chance to try Zenless Zone Zero. I wanted to. It just fell by the wayside with all the games that are out. I didn't even get to put as much time into Throne and Liberty as I wanted to because I've been so hooked on college football. And shoot, what else was I playing? Oh, Concord. I was playing NCAA and Concord, so and Throne and Liberty. So I haven't had a single chance to play Zenless Zone Zero, even though I wanted to, but it just came out at a time when there's other stuff going on. Raven, we could play some ESO. I just gotta block off some time. Chat is lively today, Luna.
Yo, thank you, Sorcerer, for renewing your VIP. Sorry I was gone so long. My wife ordered me lunch, and she's like, it's out for delivery. And the place, it's Jimmy John's. It's like 2 minutes away. And I was like, I don't want to go all the way back down there and be like, sorry, guys, I got to leave again. So I just stayed up there and waited for it.
Jimmy's John's?
Jimmy John's?
Yeah. Kirk looking like Coach Kirk with that shirt. I did notice that, like, when I got on the call, I was like, oh, I literally look like a coach with the headset. I didn't even try to do that. But, yeah, I look kind of funny.
You're like, we're really satisfied with our team right now. Offense is looking good.
One Y split 45-80.
Okay.
Mike Spy. 35
All right, guys.
strong.
I'm going to spam a link in chat. Make sure when we get over there, you guys go crazy with the like button. Appreciate all that you do for the channel. Hit likes on this video as well before we leave. We only need 17 more for 300. The likes help tremendously.
You were talking about voting earlier. We should, after we both make our case for each category, we should let chat do a poll for like the 4 that we end up with or whatever. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I want to say it before you do your intro.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to get some more videos pulled up. We need Astrobot. We need... Let's get a Wukong trailer.
You and your Wukong.
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm down, bro. If it's another Lies of P, I'm ready. My body is ready, as people say on Twitter.
What else should we have trailers for up here?
Lono has seen my takes, chat, and I think he can attest. I'm not pulling any crazy. I'm not pulling any signature Kirk moves today. I don't think. We obviously want.
I got FF7 Rebirth, Astrobot, Black Myth. Let's get some.
The one from our friends at Ubisoft that came out earlier this year, and I'm not talking about the pirate one.
Oh, the Prince of Persia?
Yeah. Reload also, I guess, technically. I mean, because that's my current. If you can get some footage of that.
Persona.
Yeah.
Which number is it? 3?
3. Yeah.
I was like, I know there was one that came out with Reload, but I can't remember which number it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Prince of Persia. They have like all sorts of new content coming out for that one as well.
Yeah.
I just want annotations to always be off.
Obviously, our favorite Xbox exclusive.
Hellblade 2? What are you talking about? They've only had one game this year so far.
It wasn't, well, for ongoing. It wasn't this year. He said it was going to have a cyberpunk moment.
Starfield?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna make the cut. Do we have a date for their DLC yet? Outer Space? I don't think we have a date.
No. I mean, all my stuff is on Twitter in our DMs.
Oh yeah.
That's just what I'm looking at right now. But if you want to cannibalize the whole show, why not?
I'm not trying to. I'm just getting trailers pulled up.
Just tell them the whole show.
We're not even talking.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of are, but
we were talking.
All right.
Oh my God, Donnie! Kirk's Game of the Year is Suicide Squad: Skull and Bones. Donnie, I don't like Suicide Squad. I gave it a 6, and I would probably give it a 5.5 at this point. Donnie's been pushing this narrative for like 2 months now that I really like Suicide Squad, and I don't know why. He just decided that I like it.
He's just ornery. Donnie's just ornery.
He's a troll.
He's just ornery.
Honestly, come after me for Concord, not Suicide Squad. I do like Concord, but as I said on Twitter when they said, our second beta, our open beta is coming to a close, my tweet was, this feels like an in memoriam.
I saw that. I saw your tweet.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Rest in peace, Concord. You were loved by few. I really do. I like that game. It definitely has something to do with the fact that I'm like decently good at it, which is rare for PvP shooters. I've been unburdened by what has been... What? Kirk is becoming unburdened by what has been by distracting from Skull and Bones. Eugene, you butchered that. I don't know what you meant to say there. That's some,
what has been? Oh, is he pulling a Kamala? What has been to what could be, or whatever she keeps saying every time she talks? Unburdened by what has been. It's like, what the heck?
You think you're a coconut that fell out of a tree, or whatever it is. Yeah.
What is happening? All right, let me refresh the live stream so I can start the new one.
Joe Biden is one of the best presidents we've ever had.
Okay, let me put this here. We got a link there.
Oh my God!
And a link there.
That was enough politics for one day.
Yep, that's enough.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Now it's time for video games. Politics. We're all in trouble and screwed, and it's terrible. All right, video game time. All right, I'm going to put a link in chat, guys.
I was worried because I thought they were going to come for the gamers because I don't know if it was fake, but I saw something that showed that the guy had been playing this game on Steam where it was like that you are trying to, blank the president.
Oh, they always try that and it never works.
Well, it blows up into a circus, and then it's annoying for us because it's like, oh, everybody that plays video games is gonna go do something like that. But I'm glad that hasn't happened. Hopefully, it won't happen this time.
All right, guys, you can use the link in chat. Make sure when you get over there, smash the like button. And if you do super chats, we'll obviously try to respond. Gifted members and all that, I do my best to acknowledge them. And I'm going to redirect us here in just a few seconds. Good golly. All right.
What?
No, it just our kids are doing soccer and they're always in need of coaches, and they still need a ton. I'm like, I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to coach 2 teams. That's all I can do.
Nice.
All right, here we go, chat. I'm going to start in a few seconds. Thanks so much for checking out this video. I sit down every Monday with my man Kirk from What's New Video Games, and we're talking about Game of the Year 2024. We're past the halfway mark. And the question is, have we already played Game of the Year 2024, or is it still yet to come? The year's not done. We've still got some titles that we'll be releasing. We've got titles that we still don't even know the release date for. So I'm going to end the previous stream where we talked all about the First Descendant. Will it last? Does it have what it takes? There's also an upload on the channel about that topic, and I break down all the things I think it's going to need to do if it wants to last. And so now we're